This clay might be too dry.
Send out some links real quick.
Is it going to be on the spiders?
Yes,
Sweet.
and we're live now.
Yeah, as soon as you send them all out, I'll send them out too.
I'm sending some as we speak. Yeah, go ahead.
I like the mystery of this too. Instead of being super official.
Yeah, well, the point is laid back and relaxed. It's kind of a wind down activity. Making art, talking and reading.
I'm
Yeah, I was
so
wondering
happy
how
this is a thing. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, that's a
Oh,
great,
thank you
great
guys for
title
coming.
too. Flow State. Yeah, Flow State. I have to add some oil to my clay. It's kind of full circle because this is where I started with this weird like bake light. I don't remember. This is called something else. The name of it is similar though. And I just had some because I rob all the secondhand stores of all of their best materials as soon as I can get them. You know, so like if you ever go to a secondhand store and there's never any good art supplies, it's because of guys like me literally coming and buying all of them, everything I can get my hands on. And
It's good
when Jim
thinking.
first really encouraged me to sculpt, I noticed I had some clay, and so I started messing around and making stuff. And I made a what do you call it? Those lizards that change color. I made a chameleon sitting on top of a rock and a bunch of weird kind of occulty, esoteric looking symbols. Nothing official, like legit, just crap out of my mind. It's just doing like we're doing right now, only sitting and listening to broadcasts and letting my hands go in a healthy way.
Oh, nice. Jenny B's in the house.
Yeah, I just saw that. Hey, Jenny.
What's
Do
happening?
something a little crazy here and actually add some holy basil oil to this clay and see if it does anything. Not. This is an off-label use of holy basil to add it
That's
to
so
bake light.
basil.
Hope it works. It's really dry. Oh, if we spy in Chance's screen, then we'll be able to see which pens he's using to get this amazing stuff.
I can show off the pens. I've been muted this whole time. I didn't realize it. I got this box of markers right here.
Nice.
These are alcohol based. They blend well. The secret is Arteza. They do like half off sales all the time. Arteza. I'm doing a free ad for them right now. These are watercolor markers. So you dip the tip in water and then I'll just demo it. This is fun. So this is a water jug / phone stand. And on my scrap paper.
Yeah. Beautiful.
It goes like this color goes quite a bit darker. I added a lot of water and you can mix and blend really nicely. So do those, and these are chameleon pens that have a similar effect, but the lightning agent is built into the pen instead of having to use water.
So how does it work just by
And fine
is there a
liners.
button to press or something?
No, I guess I'll show that too. I'll show that as well. These are really cool as well. There's a top section, the chamber. And you take the nib of the marker, lock it into this chamber, And the longer you let it sit, the more of the lightning agent drains into the marker.
Wow.
Hmm.
I've never seen those.
And so like 5 seconds, you get used to like 5 seconds of lightning will get you a certain level.
Yeah.
Let's see.
How have I never seen these before?
I saw like an internet ad. Targeting advertising was actually cool for once.
Oh yeah, it can be helpful. I mean,
That's
most
how I
of
do the
it's
marker
like
stuff.
any other advertising. Yeah,
So I got
it definitely worked.
a bunch of different kinds of markers. Also, the fine points.
Oh, now that makes
Of
sense
course.
why it looks so diverse and good, because you got so many colors. I'm thinking, how is he doing this? But using 3 or 4 different types of pins, because I want to see this thing huge, man. I'll collab with you. We can crowdsource the funding, and I got a site where I'm already doing drop ship printing. You can go pretty big.
I started this in August, but yeah, I do want to, buddy. Talk to me about that after this. I want to get into
Well,
putting my art out in the world more. It's kind of the other major thing for me. Here's another one. This is a print.
beautiful. Yeah, that looks good. It looks clean.
You
It's an
should
old
print in
one. This is
vinyl.
before I had the blending markers. This was all Sharpies.
Nice.
Yay.
That's crazy. That's cool.
Wow.
Old one.
So what are you working on, Jim?
Sometimes I do digital drawings.
Yeah, I like that
So
too.
cool. Make it big. Oops.
Let's see Jim's.
Oh, it's a
I'm
chess
working
piece.
on
I see.
Chess piece.
Sweet.
I want to make a
Oh, that's
chess
so
set
cool.
for a giant chessboard. And I printed some chess pieces, and these are plastic, the blue part. Then I'm putting clay on it, and the idea is all the parts where the clay is I'm gonna cast it in bronze, and then the blue parts I'm gonna cut that part out, so it'll be negative space. So they'll be you'll be able to see through them. I'm gonna.
Oh, you're gonna
some-
make them hollow. Wow, cool.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. This is just like so I can get the shape. Putting the clay on them. I've got a chess set I built in my backyard with 1 foot bricks, 1 foot square bricks. It's like 64 squares, chessboard size, 8x8. I've got it aligned to north and south, sort of
Wow.
like my tracing board in the yard.
Jim, you're also aware of how dangerous that is. It's very bold of you.
Well, our city here in Walla Walla is built like a Masonic tracing board, so
It'll probably fit
Yeah.
in.
No, that's what I mean. So as without, so within, right?
I want to visit Jim's house.
Do it. Go to Walla Walla. It's a great place to vacation, man. Nothing like being a tourist in Walla Walla. It kicks ass. Just don't drink the water, or you'll end up living there for 10 or 15 years.
Oh, Slick already told us how to fix that in a video.
Yeah.
It was on My Family Thinks I'm Crazy.
Yeah, you got to eat the dirt.
So if you
dirt,
drink the water and eat the dirt, then you're allowed to leave.
yep, that way you can bring the land with you.
Ah,
smart.
good. Hey, all right. Oh, I should have known that when I moved to Walla Walla last time. Just kidding. I don't have any regrets at all. I'm just being a smartass.
No disclaimer needed.
Ah,
I'm just being a smartass.
that's it. Oh, shout out to Rachel too for putting on a kick-ass poetry slam the other night. It was very authentic and good, and it felt good. I haven't been in a poetry slam for so many years. That felt great.
Yeah, thanks for being a part of it. You brought so much to it. Like, your stuff was awesome. Like,
Oh, thank you. I'm a poet. I fucking write poetry all the time.
yeah. it
Oh,
was
I try to
brilliant.
resist it as long as I can. I try to resist as long as I can until my hand is forced. Like, okay, I have to write a poem now. Thank you, universe. Here's your poem.
Yeah, it's not something I've done in a long time. So it's also good for me because it's something I like doing. I just haven't done it.
No, it's a great idea, and I'd love to jump in again sometime because it's cool. And did you guys see the poem I posted afterwards? Like, it reminded me of a poem that a friend of mine told me about years ago, and it's I considered reading it, but I actually couldn't find anywhere where someone had typed it up. So now I'm thinking, man, do I have to be the guy to actually transcribe this? But there's this amazing poet. I mean, he's really hardcore nihilist, and he killed himself. Named Stephen Jesse Bernstein.
I saw that, but I didn't watch it.
I haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's really harsh, but it's really good. Like he's just talking about how much he hates his face, and how it's ruined his whole life. How much he hates his face. And Jim knows.
Wow.
A moving piece of poetry.
It's so deep, man. It's so deep, and there's so much there to relate to, and so much to be disgusted and like repelled by at the same time. Like he's got you on a roller coaster ride, and he's got a lot of other good poetry too. But I always go back to that piece, and when I was glad after I realized how long it was that it wasn't typed up somewhere, because it would have been me reading for like 15 minutes trying to read the whole thing, and that might have been a little bit selfish of me.
Maybe I should play it. We could listen to it.
Yeah, we
some
could do
good
that. I mean,
nihilist face melting poetry.
yeah. I mean, if you got a
put
way to
some
play
meaning
it,
in
Jim,
our art.
it'll do something to our art.
Yeah.
The
do
guy
it.
supposedly
If we do enough of
stabbed
these, we
himself to
can
death with
do
a
an
pen.
experiment like the spiders on drugs. If we do
Yeah.
enough of these and we test out different genres of story or poetry, we can see how it affects the artwork of the spiders here.
Yeah,
This is the
interesting
spiders on
concept.
nihilism. And it's like,
Yeah.
pure black page.
You have a link to it, or
Yeah, I'm sure I could drop the link. Yeah, I'll drop it in the main chat. I mean in the
I peep the chat.
what's the best way for me to get it to you? Are you using a computer or your phone or what?
You can text it to me.
Okay, that's good. That's what I was asking. So yeah, and the guy's name's Stephen Jesse Bernstein. He supposedly killed himself by stabbing himself in the neck with a pen.
Damn, so hardcore. Even
I
the
know,
suicide's
right?
metaphorical.
It's so poetic.
Exactly.
It's
It's
like,
horrendously
like-
appropriate.
well, you know how it is. Like you go to look somebody up because you're like, this is a trip. I want to check this guy out, and you're like, oh.
It might be the most baller move ever to turn your death into an art statement.
I mean, in a way, it is. But
I don't mean
know.
I don't mean baller in a good way.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Like ballers.
I have a lot of sympathy on people who feel compelled to hurt themselves, especially take their own lives. But I can't condone it. I mean, we're here for a reason. In my opinion, you chose to come in here, so to choose to leave too is like, it's like when you keep hitting reset on a game or like rage quitting. Like don't rage quit. Like
It's one coin. I'm starting over.
You have to, yeah, exactly. You have to come back. And there's no, how it is, no guarantee you come back. Maybe the Koopa Trooper was right where you wanted it to be on the last one, but you were being picky about the layout, and now you come back and there's 2 Koopa Troopas.
These are real problems here.
Well, now remember the guys throwing axes? What were those guys called in Mario? Throwing the axes?
Hammer Brothers?
Yeah, the
Use
Hammer
hammers.
Brothers. Even worse. Yeah, exactly. You get farther down, and the Hammer Brothers they're not waiting to fade in from the distance. They're right there on top of you. And it makes it hard to
Hammer
work.
Brothers sounds way worse than what it was in Mario.
It does now, yeah. They were always tag teaming you, two on one.
Yeah. All right, so I don't know.
I'm stuck on which color to pick.
That's what the Game Genie was for. No,
That's cheating.
no it's not. If the gods
agree.
hand you a golden disc, you use it.
Yes, you do. I can't in good faith sit here on the stream and say that I did not use the Game Genie. So, so just for the record, using your delicious, stress-relieving holy basil to soften up the plastic clay does work, but it might have made it too soft. But
It smells amazing.
it does smell amazing. So now I'll try to make one of these faces that I made because of Jim. It's not really because of Jim in a direct way, But when you're working with hot wax, you get it on your hands and you try to find some way to get it off of your hands. And if you try to make it get off your hands too fast, it'll just smear everywhere because it's literally liquid. So if you kind of let it start to form up a little bit and then get it off your hands, you know, then it starts to set up. And so I did this over and over again, pouring wax for Jim. And I started making these little faces. And so then I decided, okay, I'm going to make at least 666 of them, and I'm going to make it into a project called The Faces of Man. And I'm going to invest them into bronze and all this stuff. And I did invest one. This one here is actually a gift for Jim. You can see that's there. You can see it if I put it right there. That one's bronze. I've got hundreds of these things. Cool. And I'm going to polish this one all up for Jim because
I have been handsome and popular all my life.
that was it works. I could definitely hear it. You got to start it over though, because you got to get the very beginning. Either that or I'll just say it, you know.
Oh, man.
Here goes.
All right.
The following is pure fiction. Actually, I have been handsome and popular all my life. There has always been something wrong with my face. Look in the mirror, Stevie, my mother said, holding me up so I could see my face. See, there's Stevie. The little ears stuck out. That was the first thing I noticed. The two ears. And though the hair was pasted down with suave and brushed neatly into a regular boy's hairdo, a few springy locks had popped loose. Curly hair. Ugh. The nose was a pale blob of cold putty. Had the police already gotten to me? No, I was born like that. At 2, my face already looked like the face of a convict. But the eyes and chin were pretty. Pretty. When I was 4, I got polio. I was paralyzed from the neck down. I could barely turn my head. My flesh withered. I didn't see my face again until I was 5.5. The cheeks had collapsed. A young death's head. Taut, bony, unlined forehead. The chin had turned hard like a frozen lily. The eyes glowed the color of green figs. I opened my mouth. A blood-soaked bird's nest in which the mother bird had been killed and her fetal offspring left to die in their unhatched eggs. A mouth full of meat and feathers and tiny white coffins. A fat pink worm snarled from the red gash in my face. I watched my tongue moving in the mirror in thrall. Red was my favorite color. I took a tube of my mother's red lipstick and made big red X's on all my dad's business stationery. My father hit me in the face hard. I always wanted a red face and black hair. Straight black hair, dark crimson face. Instead, I had curly mouse hair and a bleached pink face. I thought of cutting my face up with a razor and pouring shoe polish on my head, slicing off my ears. I went to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. The blood was a pathetic little dribble. I cried. When I was 6, I got glasses. The glasses temples pushed my ears out even further and made them swell and blush a painful pink. Other kids made fun of me. I was the scrawniest kid in the whole school, too. I walked with my toes pointed in because of the polio, and I had to wear big, bulbous orthopedic shoes. My face mirrored my self-consciousness and embarrassment, probably even in my sleep. All through my school years, I was one of the ugly kids. My mother bought me a pair of stylish black horn-rimmed glasses. They only enhanced my pallor. Other kids' faces turned brown in the summer. Mine looked like a cheap mask of blistered pink rubber from a joke shop. In the 5th grade, I proposed to a girl named Denise Johnson out on the lunch court. White blobs of seagull and pigeon shit rained from the sky. Denise said she wanted me to propose properly between the gym and the cafeteria after school. I combed my regular boys and wiped my modern glasses. At 10 after 3, I met Denise between the two buildings. I was shivering and my mouth was dry and tasted horrible. I got down on my knees on the shit-splotched black top in front of Miss Johnson. My mouth was just level with her groin. I looked up at her pretty brown face and long, straight black hair. She looked down at my damp cheeks and smiled benignly. Denise, you are the prettiest, smartest girl in the whole school. Will you marry me? My insides chattered against each other as I spoke the words. My face was livid and silly. I could feel my eyeballs bulging in their bone sockets. My knees ached. Ha 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 ha! You're too ugly. You look like you've been whooped with an ugly stick. Ha 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 ha! Her face had changed to a contemptuous snarl. Misty lavender donuts of shame appeared in front of my eyes. Suddenly, a mob of snickering boys and girls jumped out from around the back corner of the cafeteria. They surrounded us, laughing and jeering. I stood up, wobbling, a lump in my throat, my asshole pinched tight. Denise joined the circle of snapping, cruel children. She stood next to Rudy Stoltz, the handsomest, most popular boy in the school. They held hands. Fuck you, Jew-ass burn butt, said Rudy. I put my huge, clumsy hands over my face. A cantaloupe skin hit me in the ear. I could hear the kids wandering away, giggling and guffawing. When I took my hands away from my face, I was alone. There was a thin white and green drool of seagull shit on my tan jacket. I walked home through a network of alleys. Finally, because of my face, I quit school in the 8th grade. I spent my days hiding out in the dark, humid garage, doing chemistry experiments and writing in secret codes. Sometimes I'd sneak out the side door, walk to the nearest storm drain opening, squeeze in, and crawl around in the complicated black maze of tunneling underneath Los Angeles. There were rats and black widow spiders down there. I imagined myself dead from spider bites, my face being chewed off by rats. I derived a mysterious feeling of solace from this prospect. No one would ever find me down there. And even if they did, I wouldn't have a face anymore. My mother took me to some psychiatrists. They agreed that I was a very disturbed young man. I had taken to wearing a red hooded sweatshirt with a drawstring on the hood pulled tight, so there was just a little hole, like a squinched up anal sphincter muscle for me to peer out of. I wore a black Beatles wig over the red hood. I ate my meals alone in the garage. My mother would sometimes stand in the doorway crying. Finally, I threatened to cut her throat with a butcher knife and smear her blood all over my face if she didn't stay the fuck away from me. I poured a pint of black lacquer on my head and had to have my scalp shaved. I hadn't bathed or changed clothes in months. The doctors felt that I needed to be hospitalized. My mother signed some papers. There was a brief court hearing during which I was declared insane and my custody handed over to the state of California. Nearly bald, laughing hysterically and muttering, I was handcuffed and delivered by the sheriff's department to a gruesome state hospital in California's Citrus Belt. There, I discovered that there were people with far uglier faces than mine. Some of these people were so ghastly I couldn't look at them without retching. After a few months, though, I got used to them. Still, I couldn't make peace with my own dreadful visage. The doctors put me on medication. They talked to me. Nothing did any good. 6 months was the longest they could hold me legally. I was released and immediately hit the streets. I took up with faggot Dadaists who didn't believe in faces. I tried makeup. I tried turning into a woman. I straightened my hair and dyed it black. I wore a monk's cowl so that all I could see was the sidewalk and no one could see me at all. I never returned home, never went back to school, never saw Denise Johnson or Rudy Stoltz again. Over the years, because of my face and my unfortunate attitude towards it, I have had to be institutionalized several times. I became a drug addict, alcoholic, and criminal. When I comb my hair, I wear a blank paper mask with eye holes. I shave with an electric razor and no mirror like a blind man. You have seen more of me already than I will ever see of myself. I hope you aren't as alarmed or offended by my face as I am. Look in the mirror, Stevie. See? There's Stevie. I stand there sometimes in secret looking. There will always be something wrong with my face.
Wow.
I think that guy's the Antichrist.
Yeah, I feel like I should say I'm sorry and you're welcome. Take whichever one you want. I love that poem, but yeah, it's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, that's intense.
Yeah, I never noticed the like traffic and thunder sounds before when I listened to it.
I think that might be edited in. There's other versions where people have edited in like music and stuff, and to me, it always kills it. You know, it's pretty subtle, and that might not have been edited in. I know there's poems where you could hear background noise because I think he just recorded on a tape deck or whatever. You know,
It definitely built some tension.
Wonder how many people feel that way and just don't express it like that in the same way, you know, choose to express it
Yeah.
through poetry. Maybe some people do, but I bet there's a lot of people who feel that.
Do you
Isn't
think that
there
a disorder?
well, I
Probably.
think there's it's like, I don't know how to say this sensitively, but it's like a MGTOW for really unattractive people. And they call it taking the black pill. And essentially, kind of like MGTOW accuses the world of being gynocentric. These guys, I don't know what their affiliation, the name of their group, but essentially they accuse the world of being biased to attractiveness.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that. Interesting. Yeah.
And I think that is the actual origin of the term black pill, but I think black pill kind of got picked up and watered down and passed around by all the attractive people.
I like that he mentions getting in touch with Dadaists. That was such a strange movement. But I mean, really questioning what attractiveness is. Like, yes, I think we all have an innate sense of what's attractive to us. And there's probably a lot of similarities within that for very basic reasons, I'm sure. But, I think I've struggled to understand how somebody else can decide what's attractive or not. Because I remember looking at magazines and all that stuff young and like, yeah, these people are attractive, but so are so many people. Like, if you look with an abstract eye, so many people can be attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Angelica Houston, I find her very attractive, but she definitely doesn't fit conventional terms of attractiveness.
I would say
Sigourney Weaver is another.
It's a function of how attracted to yourself you are. The poem summed it up perfectly.
Yes.
It's all about your relationship to yourself, and someone who is attracted to themselves, as in is looking at themselves always, and also likes themselves and cares about themselves. They will carry a different energy, and I think that our physical form and the face especially is way more of a projection than most people are aware enough to perceive. But it's very rapid that when people start to spend time around each other a lot, especially like couples, you will, if you're perceptive, you can see that their features will eventually start to become similar.
Yeah, it happens right away. I mean, exactly. Like you said, if they spend lots of time together.
But I mean, like your attractiveness as a being is about that inner light and how much of it you're self-containing ultimately. And then at that point, any flaws become flourishes. And if it's the other way around, you just hate yourself, then every little thing that's what you would say is abnormal becomes magnified. You're like, it's like putting yourself it's like in film or photography. If you put yourself in a bad light, then you won't look good.
Yeah. It's funny that you said that just as I decided to mess with my lighting because I realized I had a red filter sitting here. and then I've got my ring light above me, and I was trying to get better lighting on what I'm doing with my hands just because we can see each other. But I think you're right on, Chance. That's why I love your shit, man. You got such a consistent vibe on your insight, and it's really true insight. It's not just surface level stuff. It's true, man. We all know it, but until somebody points it out, you don't think about it as much. That someone's face it's not like this dense physiological thing that's anything like a mask. Like your entire inner light is filtering out through it as your main piece that it's expressing through. That's the front of your flashlight. And so if you've got some joy in your heart, or at least some confidence and some ability to be at peace with yourself, then no matter what the appearance might be, you might have some huge scar on your face or like an unfortunate mole or something, what some people might consider unfortunate, but that doesn't matter if the person has that inner peace and the ability to contend with themselves. It's true.
Yeah.
I think we're not taught how to critique and observe with a non-attached attitude, or even to be allowed to see yourself as beautiful without fear of being called a narcissist. Because it's very healthy. It's funny that I see all these affirmations, these daily affirmations, say you're beautiful in the mirror. It's like, well, maybe if you've been doing that for, if you'd started doing that sooner, it might have been, I'm sure, I wonder, if there's that fear, if people are like, I would love to sit here and speak life to my face, but I might be called a narcissist if I talk about that with somebody.
Yeah.
I
love my
do it
face.
with a sonic slider. Then, I mean, if you put the weighted tuning fork sonic slider on your face, you are putting light on your face, literally. The vibration is light at a lower range of the perceptual spectrum. Sound and light are the same thing.
Sonic slider is a tuning fork?
Yeah, that's the one Eileen Day-McCusick, the tuning fork guru lady, that she designed for on the body. It's the Schumann resonances frequency times 12. You can get it at Biofield Tuning Store. I should definitely get an affiliation with them because I've probably sold dozens, but they work. You should see it's actually marketed as a cosmetic tool, and I think it's brilliant, especially with all the things we've talked about regarding cosmetics. And there's so much more that we could say about it, how cosmetics are an industry that's built on the whole placenta clips mystery, right? And abortion and things like that. And also all kinds of other weird stuff like bat poop. So do you have a tool, that can help somebody's actual electricity, their inner light, then they'll just radiate a more natural beauty and symmetry and all that automatically without needing to use those cosmetics that are only able to be sold because of people having, at least to some degree, the same attitude as this guy. But that doesn't mean all cosmetics as a thing are bad either. There's like artistic, or there's like, I hate myself and I'm trying to cover myself. There's definitely two sides to that coin. So I don't want to like demonize cosmetics. Anyway, this slider though, they have before and after pictures of older ladies that have used it, and it's like their skin tightens back up onto their face. It's really amazing. They say you just use it 5 to 15 minutes a day, depending on how much of the body you want to use it on. And if you're consistent with that over months, is when you get like the big before and after results.
Cool. Thanks for pointing
But I
that
haven't
out.
used mine that way on my face. I mostly use it on like sore muscles or injuries, or if there's a certain chakra I want to energize, usually solar plexus for me.
Well, bro, there's such a thing as too handsome. I mean, yeah, you can't go make yourself any more of an Adonis than you already are. That's not.
It's the Leo rising.
It is. Yeah, we both got it. That's why I said I love my face. I don't talk about it all the time, but I just assume everyone knows I love my face. So I don't have to say anything,
I love your face too, bro.
Thanks. Yeah, that's what I mean. Don't get me wrong. If you want to make yours more handsome with your tuning fork, then I encourage it, because I want to see what happens. Maybe animals at the pet store are able to break through the glass and go home with you without having to pay or whatever.
Man, that'd be cool if that would happen.
Yeah.
Well, we could make it happen, but we should be careful too, though. We'll see if we get this story. See there. Well, maybe what happens is they follow you till they're supposed to be with the person that they're with, and it always takes less than 3 days. How's that?
And they give me $1,000.
Yeah, or something better.
Not for the pet, just because they're like, I was looking for you. I wanted to give you $1,000. And you happen to have this pet that I was looking for too. So it's a sync.
Maybe that's how they know. Yeah, like I gave you that $1,000, and what's up with that? What's up with that gerbil you got right there? And now I really love the idea of the gerbil somehow being able to bust out, because you think of like a cat or a dog or a bigger pet, but like I like the idea of the gerbil somehow. He sees Chance's glowing face and he's like, "That's it, man. That's the sign. Let's go."
Speaking of pets, this thing's trying to get on my project.
Of course.
Stay away.
Because it's because the cat knows we're talking. Like, you talk about pets. Here's a pet. Here I am.
Exactly. It seriously knows.
Sean was asking for me. So how many times have you taken a drink of that pin water on accident?
This is the same water that I've had there since August.
Wow.
Probably get some fresh water. It's just not very much.
It's water. Yeah.
I don't know. I think there might be some kind of mold growing in it. Maybe I'll switch it out.
The living waters.
Right? It's got a
This one-
kombucha mother bacteria in it now.
So I'm
I do that almost all the time.
gonna squish this one back up, I think.
I pulled my Charles Bukowski book of poetry off the shelf.
Awesome. Yeah, well, that's in the same vibe as I actually it's nice when Bukowski can actually be a couple levels up from someone, so that helps to start all the way at the bottom with Jesse Bernstein, you know.
There's a picture of his face.
Yeah, he looks
In
gorgeous.
Yep. It's like sleeping or something. But apparently he was a late bloomer with his romantic life.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned this recently on a William Ramsey Investigates interview. Somebody did a bio on Bukowski. And it turns out, like, I think he moved out to LA and started really getting into his creative juju. And all of a sudden, the ladies were just crawling all over him. He'd like put his name and phone number out in the newspapers for young ladies to come and just hang out and have casual company. But he's
The sacral chakra is creative and sexual energy in one.
yeah. Yep.
Oh, creative, so be careful what you do with it. How many kids do you want, you know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm totally down to hear some Gabe reading Bukowski. I'm all about that.
All right.
Yeah.
Now Jenny B, whatever
But
you
we
got
had
going on
absolute
there is a total
horror.
trip.
Maybe I could read a Khalil Gibran where we can have something less horrific for rhythm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of that too, to throw something out there to balance it out, because I definitely got Rumi within arm's reach. I'm sure I got other poetry too, but I read Rumi at least once every couple of weeks. I'll just snatch it and open it up and read something. My dad turned me on to Rumi.
That's
I
something
gotta
to ruminate
find the
on.
actual book I'm looking for if I'm gonna do one out of it.
Yeah, I'm ruminating on it, Jim, for sure. Or should we say ruminating?
I was waiting for someone to say something like that. Like it's gonna happen. Just wait.
Okay, here we go.
Can't help
This one
ourselves.
this is called The Strong Man, from his book Betting on the Muse. I went to see him there in that place in Echo Park. After my shift at the post office, he was a huge bearded fellow, and he sat in his chair like a Buddha. And he was my Buddha, my guru, my hero, my roar of light. Sometimes he wasn't kind, but he was always more than interesting. To come from the post office, a slave, to that explosion of light confounded me. But it was a remarkable and delightful confusion. Thousands of books upon hundreds of subjects lay rotting in his cellar. To play chess with him was to be laughed off the board. To challenge him physically or mentally was useless. But he had the ability to listen to your persiflage patently, and then the ability to sum up its weaknesses, its delusions in one sentence. I often wondered how he put up with my railings. He was kind, after all. The nights lasted 7, 8 hours. I had myself, he had himself, and a beautiful woman who quietly smiled as she listened to us. She worked at the drawing board, designing things. I never asked what, and she never said. The walls and the ceilings were pasted over with hundreds of odd legends, like the last words of a man in an electric chair, or gangsters on their deathbeds, or a murderer's instructions to her children. Photos of Adolf Hitler, Al Capone, Chief Sitting Bull, Lucky Luciano. It was an endless honey. It was an endless honeycomb of strange faces and utterances. It was darkly refreshing. And at odd, rare times, even I was interesting. Then the Buddha would nod. He recorded everything on tape. Sometimes on another night, he would play a tape back for me. And when I would realize how pitiful, how cheap, how inept I sounded, he seldom did. At times I wondered why the world had not discovered him. He made no effort to be discovered. He had other visitors, always wild, original, refreshing folk. It was crazier than the sun burning up the sea. It was the bats of hell whirling about the room. That was decades ago, and he is still alive. He made a place when there was no place, a place to go when all was closing in, strangling, crushing, debilitating, when there was no voice, no sound, no sense. He lent his easy, shaving, natural grace. Excuse me. He lent his easy, saving, natural grace. I felt that I owed him one. I felt that I owed him many. But I can hear him now, that same voice, as when he sat so huge in that same chair. Nothing is owed, Bukowski. You're finally wrong this time, John Thomas, you bastard.
Nice.
Was that it?
That's it.
Here. Hey, on Rachel's stream, we snapped at the end of a performance, and it was really
Oh, that's great.
this for applause. I don't know where I've seen that somewhere before, but it was so good, and it seemed so natural. You know.
It was fun. It was not required, but I love that you guys did that, that we did that.
The snapping, that's
Yeah.
beatnik stuff
Yeah.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Snapping is
Ooh.
applause. Is that where I learned it from the beats?
Hey, Gordy, I didn't know you were here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the beatniks. Hi,
What up,
guys.
Gordy?
Decorating the
Ooh,
baseball.
Cool.
wow. Ooh la la. You really spiced it up.
That looks cool.
Infinite butter.
Infinite butter.
Maximum.
Did you find yours, Chance? Or he might still be looking.
Yes, I was trying to find a way to hold my stuff up for the camera too, Gordy.
I'll pull one out of here.
Nice.
From the collected works of Khalil Gibran. Oh, damn cat. Get out of here. Don't touch the art. Being attacked.
Khalil Gibran.
Switch to the computer. So Jim let me in a second.
No problem.
I love your cat leering. Like you said, don't touch. That doesn't mean I can't breathe on it. And to get a blue lens for next time.
Okay, this one feels appropriate. This is an excerpt. You guys can hear me, right? Just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay. This is an excerpt from The Prophet, which is a frame poem with a lot of subjects in it. Maybe I'll just pick around a few of them out of here. Might be too much to read the whole thing because I kind of want to color more, but this one is beauty. And a poet said, "Speak to us of beauty." And he answered, "Where shall you seek beauty, and how shall you find her, unless she herself be your way and your guide? And how shall you speak of her, except she be the weaver of your speech? The aggrieved and the injured say, beauty is kind and gentle. Like a young mother half shy of her own glory, she walks among us. And the passionate say, nay, beauty is a thing of might and dread. Like the tempest, she shakes the earth beneath us and the sky above us. The tired and the weary say, beauty is of soft whisperings. She speaks in our spirit. Her voice yields to our silences like a faint light that quivers in fear of the shadow. But the restless say, we have heard her shouting among the mountains, and with her cries come the sound of hoofs and the beating of wings and the roaring of lions. At night the watchmen of the city say, beauty shall rise with the dawn from the east. And at noontide the toilers and the wayfarers say, we have seen her leaning over the earth from the windows of the sunset. In the winter, say the snowbound, she shall come with the spring leaping upon the hills. And in the summer heat, the reapers say, we have seen her dancing with the autumn leaves, and we saw a drift of snow in her hair. All these things have you said of beauty, yet in truth you spoke not of her, but of needs unsatisfied. And beauty is not a need, but an ecstasy. It is not a mouth thirsting, nor an empty hand stretched forth, but rather a heart inflamed and a soul enchanted. It is not the image you would see, nor the song you would hear, but rather an image you see though you close your eyes, and a song you hear though you shut your ears. It is not the sap within the furrowed bark, nor a wing attached to a claw, but rather a garden forever in bloom and a flock of angels forever in flight. People of Orphalese, beauty is life when life unveils her holy face. But you are life, and you are the veil. Beauty is eternity gazing at itself in a mirror. But you are eternity, and you are the mirror.
Yeah, beautiful.
Snap the fingers.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. That's great.
Yeah, I love that.
I've always seen that poet's name, but I don't think I've read except for like little clips that go by on the internet. So it's nice to hear.
Dude, he's an ascended master, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If there is such a thing, this guy was.
Did you know that there's an animated version of that story, The Prophet?
No, but that sounds really cool.
It's beautiful. I don't know if it's probably meant for children, but I mean, it's roomy, so anyone can really watch it, but it's a beautiful piece of art. Like I was just watched it in.
Oh, this is Khalil Gibran, actually.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry. Because he gets imprisoned, right?
The Prophet?
Did you send
in
me
the
that?
story?
In The Prophet.
I don't think so. I think he just gives his prophecies and gets on the boat and leaves. It's like a frame story of some prophet, holy man coming to a city, and he's going to get on a ship and leave the land. And all the people gather around and they ask him to tell about different subjects. So he talks about beauty, death, love, religion, prayer, good and evil. It's super good. All of it just showing out all his self. Super advanced.
It's him. Yeah, you should look that up. It's really beautiful.
They animated The Prophet.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's 2014. It says I looked it up because me and my girl watch kids cartoons all the time, unabashedly, unashamedly. We spend
That
our
would be
money
a
and go
beautiful
to
thing
the
to
theater.
animate. There's so much imagery that you could animate.
There's yeah, some of that imagery was kind of blowing my mind, honestly.
Was that the one that you sent me, Rachel? That I watched the one with the no, it had something to do with a wolf.
Oh no, Wolfwalkers?
No,
No, I sent you
no, it was an Indian thing.
oh yeah, Sita Sings the Blues.
That's it. That's rad.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. It's really fun. It's such a cool story of Sita and Rama and kind of the parallels in like real life too.
I
Yeah,
have
it's
so many
interesting the way
tabs
they did it
open.
as a discussion too. Like
Mm.
the guys are discussing the myth.
Yeah, that was a really
That's a
fun
cool
way
way
to
to do it.
it. Yeah. I like that they're a little bit hard on the story too.
Yeah,
Sometimes they're
yeah.
like,
Oh, that's
oh,
bullshit, man. That's
Rama's
bullshit, man.
an asshole.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah, you know what? Thanks. Yeah, that one's really pretty. That's a cool story. Speaking of children's books, I have a book that I started that was my fun book. And I picked a children's book by an author that I really like because I was curious to see how she wrote for children after reading her adult novels. So I thought about reading the first chapter. It's like 10 pages, but it had all this stuff that we've been talking about. So I was like, oh my God, I might have to share that.
Yeah, do it. I mean, if you're interested to read, I'll read something too if you want, but
Yeah, if you don't
also have.
mind
Yeah,
listening.
please. No, I mean that's
Yeah.
I'm glad that it's happening organically because that's what I asked Jim before we started. Like, well, who's going to read and who's going to make art? Are we going to take turns or what? And none of that was necessary. Just kind of happening on its own. So that's good.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go off camera so you guys can just like listen. But let me.
And if we need to fill space or do another read later on and no one's volunteering, I've got a bookmarked one from Gibran.
Cool.
But now I'm going to go back to the coloring.
I love it. Okay, so this is chapter 1. I'm not going to say who it's by or what the book is called yet, just because I don't want to. I'm still being stingy about her. So this is chapter 1, called Exuent on a Leopard, in which a girl named September is spirited off by means of a leopard, learns the rules of fairyland, and solves a puzzle. Once upon a time, a girl named September grew very tired indeed of her parents' house, where she washed the same pink and yellow teacups and matching gravy boats every day, slept on the same embroidered pillow, and played with the same small and amiable dog. Because she had been born in May, and because she had a mole on her left cheek, and because her feet were very large and ungainly, the green wind took pity on her and flew to her window one evening just after her 12th birthday. He was dressed in a green smoking jacket and a green carriage driver's cloak, and green jodhpurs and green snowshoes. It is very cold above the clouds in the shanty towns where the 6 winds live. 6 winds, sorry. You seem an ill-tempered and irascible enough child. I have never heard that word. I had to look it up. And said the green wind, how would you like to come away with me and ride upon the leopard of little breezes and be delivered to the great sea which borders fairyland? I'm afraid I cannot go in, as harsh airs are not allowed, but I should be happy to deposit you upon the perverse and perilous sea. Oh yes, breathed September, who disapproved deeply of pink and yellow teacups, and also of small and amiable dogs. Well, then come and sit by me, and do not pull too harshly on my leopard's fur, as she bites. September climbed out of her kitchen window, leaving a sink full of soapy pink and yellow teacups with leaves still clinging to the bottoms in pretentious shapes. One of them looked a little bit like her father in his long coffee-colored trench coat, gone away over the sea with a rifle and gleaming things on his hat. One of them looked a bit like her mother, bending over a stubborn airplane engine in her work overalls, her arm muscles bulging. One of them looked a bit like a squashed cabbage. The green wind held out his hand, snug in a green glove, and September took both his hands in a very deep breath. One of her shoes came loose as she hoisted herself over the sill, and this will be important. Now, said the green wind when September was firmly seated in the curling emerald saddle, her hands knotted in the leopard's spotted pelt, there are important rules in fairyland, rules from which I shall one day be exempt when my papers have been processed at last and I am possessed of the golden ring of diplomatic immunity. I'm afraid that if you trample upon the rules, I cannot help you. You may be tricked or executed, or ticketed, sorry, ticketed or executed, depending on the mood of the Marquesas. Is she very terrible? The green wind frowned into his brambly beard. All little girls are terrible, he admitted finally, but the Marquesas is she at least has a very fine hat. Tell me the rules, said September firmly. Her mother had taught her chess when she was quite small, and she felt that if she could remember which way knights ought to go, she could certainly remember fairy rules. First, no iron of any kind is allowed. Customs is quite strict on this point. Any bullets, knives, maces, or jacks you might have on your person will be confiscated and smelted. Second, the practice of alchemy is forbidden to all except young ladies born on Tuesdays. I was born on Tuesday. It certainly is possible that I knew that, the greenwood said with a wink. Third, aviary locomotion is permitted only by means of leopard or licensed ragwort stock. If you find yourself not in possession of one of these, kindly confine yourself to the ground. Fourth, all traffic travels winter shins. Fifth, rubbish takeaway occurs on second Fridays. Sixth, all changelings are required to wear identifying footwear. Seventh, and most important, you may in no fashion cross the borders of the worsted wood, or you will either perish most painfully or be forced to sit through a very tedious tea service with several spinster hamadryads. These laws are sacrosanct, except for visiting dignitaries and spriggans. Do you understand? September, I promise you, tried very hard to listen, but the rushing winds kept blowing her dark hair into her face. I think so, she stammered, pulling her curls away from her mouth. Obviously, the eating or drinking of fairy foodstuff constitutes a binding contract to return at least once a year in accordance with the seasonal myth cycles. September started. What? What does that mean? The green wind stroked his neatly pointed beard. It means, eat anything you like, precious cherry child. He laughed like the whistling air through high branches, sweet as cherries, bright as berries, and light on my moony sky.
The heck?
The leopard of little breezes yawned up and farther off from the rooftops of Omaha, Nebraska, to which September did not even wave goodbye. One ought not to judge her. All children are heartless. They have not grown a heart yet, which is why they can climb tall trees and say shocking things and leap so very high that grown-up hearts flutter in terror. Hearts weigh quite a lot. That is why it takes so long to grow one. But as in their reading and arithmetic and drawing, different children proceed at different levels. Parentheses, it is well known that reading quickens the growth of a heart like nothing else. End parentheses. Some small ones are terrible and fey, utterly heartless. Some are dear and sweet, and hardly heartless at all. September stood very generally in the middle on the day the green wind took her. somewhat heartless and somewhat grown. And so September did not wave goodbye to her house or her mother's factory, puffing white smoke far below her. She did not even wave goodbye to her father when they passed over Europe. You and I might be shocked by this, but September had read a great number of books and knew that parents are only angry until they have discovered that their little adventurer has been to fairyland and not the corner pub, and then everything's all right. Instead, she looked straight into the clouds until the wind made her eyes water. She leaned into the leopard of little breezes, whose pelt was rough and bright, and listened to the beating of her huge and thundering heart. If you don't mind my asking, Sir Wind, said September after a respectable time had passed, how does one get to fairyland? After a while, we shall certainly pass India and Japan and California and simply come round to my house again. The Green Wind chuckled. I suppose that would be true if the earth were round. I'm reasonably sure it is. You're going to have to stop that sort of backward, old-fashioned thinking, you know. Conservatism is not an attractive trait. Fairyland is a very scientific place. We subscribe to all the best journals. The leopard of little breezes gave a light roar. Several small clouds skipped huffily out of their path. The earth, my dear, is roughly trapezoidal, vaguely rhomboidal, a bit of a tesseract, and altogether grumpy when its fur is stroked the wrong way. In short, it is a puzzle, my autumnal acquisition, like the interlocking silver rings your Aunt Margaret brought back from Turkey when you were 9. How did you know about my Aunt Margaret? Exclaimed September, holding her hair back with one hand. I happened to be performing my usual noontime dust-up just then. She wore a black skirt, and you wore a yellow dress with monkeys on it. Harsh airs have excellent memories for things they have ruffled. September smoothed the lap of her now wrinkled and rumpled orange dress. She liked anything orange. Leaves, some moons, marigolds, chrysanthemums, cheese, pumpkin both in pie and out, orange juice, marmalade. Orange is bright and demanding. You can't ignore orange things. She once saw an orange parrot in the pet store and had never wanted anything so much in her life. She would have named it Halloween and fed it butterscotch. Her mother said butterscotch would make a bird sick, and besides, the dog would certainly eat it up. September never spoke to the dog again, on principle. The puzzle is not unlike those rings, said the great wind, tipping his gaze over his green spectacles. We're going to unlock the earth and lock it up again. And when we have done it, we shall be in another ring, which is to say, fairyland. It won't be long now. And indeed, the icy blue clouds above the world, a great number of rooftops began to peek out. They were all very tall, very rickety, cathedral towers made of nailed boards, cupolas of rusted metal, obelisks of tattered leaves, and more, huge domes like the ones September had seen in books about Italy, but with many of their bricks punched out, broken, turned to dust. Just the sorts of buildings where winds howls hardest, whistles loudest, screams highest. The tips and tops of everything were frozen, including the folk that flew and flitted through the town, bundled up tight, much like the Green Wind himself, their jodhpurs and jackets, black or rosy or yellow, their cheeks puffed out and round like the cherubs blowing at the corners of old maps. Welcome, September, to the city of Westerly, my home, where live all the 6 winds in nothing at all like harmony. It's very nice and very cold, and I seem to have lost one of my shoes. The Green Wind looked down at September's toes, which were beginning to turn slightly purple. Being at least a bit of a gentleman, he shuffled off his smoking jacket and guided her arms into it. The sleeves were far too big, but the jacket had learned a drop or two of manners in its many travels and adjusted itself around September's little body, puffing up and drawing in until it was quite like her own skin. I think I look a little like a pumpkin, whispered September, secretly delighted. I'm all green and orange. She looked down. On her wide emerald velvet lapel, the jacket had grown a little orange brooch for her, a jeweled key. It sparkled as though made out of the sun itself. The jacket warmed slightly with bashfulness and with hoping she'd be pleased. The shoe was a very great loss, I won't lie, clucked the green wind, but one must make sacrifices if one is to enter fairyland. His voice dropped confidentially. Westerly is a border town, and the Red Wind is awfully covetous. Terribly likely your shoe would have been stolen eventually, anyway. The green wind at September entered Westerly smoothly, the leopard of little breezes being extra careful not to jostle the landing. They strode down Squamish thoroughfare, with big-cheeked blue and golden winds, went about their grocery shopping, where they did, piling their arms with tumbleweeds for rich, thorny salads. Clouds spun and blew down the street the way old papers blow in the cities you have seen. They were heading for two spindly pillars at the end of the thoroughfare, pillars so enormous that September could not see right away that they were actually people, incredibly tall and thin, their faces huge and long. She couldn't tell if they were men or women, but they were hardly thicker than a pencil and taller than any of the bell towers and high platforms of Westerly. Their feet went straight down through the clouds, disappearing in a puff of cumulus. They both wore thin circular glasses, darkened to keep out the bright westerly sun. Who are they? Whispered September. That's Latitude, with the yellow belt, and Longitude, with the paisley cravat. We can't get very far without them, so be polite. I thought latitude and longitude were just lines on maps. They don't like to have their pictures taken. That's how it is with famous folk. Everyone wants to click, click, click away at you. It's very annoying. They made a bargain with the Cartographers Guild several hundred years ago. Symbolic representations only. Out of respect, you understand. September felt very quiet in front of latitude and longitude. Being young, she was used to most people being taller than she was. But this was another order entirely, and she hadn't eaten anything since breakfast, and travel by leopard is very tiring. She didn't think she ought to curtsy, as that was old-fashioned, so she bowed from the waist. The green wind looked amused and copied her bow. Latitude yawned, and inside of his mouth was bright blue, the color of the ocean on school maps. Longitude sighed in a bored sort of way. Well, you wouldn't expect them to speak, would you? The green wind looked slightly embarrassed. They're celebrities. They're very private. I thought you said there would be a puzzle, said September, catching Latitude's yawn. The green wind picked at his sleeve, as though miffed that she was not more impressed. When you solve a jigsaw puzzle, he said, how do you do it, pumpkin dear? September shuffled her cold foot on the smooth blue stones of the thoroughfare. Well, you start with the corners, and then you fill the edges to make a frame, and then work inward until all the pieces fit. And historically, how many winds are there? September thought back to her book of myths, which had been bright orange and therefore one of her favorite possessions. 4, I think. The green wind grinned, his green lips curling under a green mustache. Quite so. Green, red, black, and gold. Of course, those are roughly family designations like Smith or Gupta. And actually, there is also silver and blue, but they've made trouble off the coast of Tunisia and have to go to bed without supper. So the fact remains, today we are the corners. He gestured at the placid latitude and longitude. They are the edges, and you, September, he gently pulled a strand of September's hair free of her brooch, are the middle pieces, all funny shaped and stubborn. I don't understand, sir. Well, it's all in the verbiage. One of the pieces is a girl hopping window shins on 1 foot, 9 revolutions. One is wear motley colors. One is clap hand over one eye. One is give something up. One is have a feline in attendance. But that's easy, mostly easy. But Fairyland is an old place, and old things have strange hungers. One of the last pieces is there must be blood. The other is tell a lie. September bit her lip. She had never been fond of jigsaw puzzles, even though her grandmother loved them and had glued 1,000 pieces all over her house as a kind of wallpaper. Slowly, trying to remember it all, she clapped one hand over her eye. She raised 1 foot and hopped in what she hoped was window shins around the leopard of little breezes. Her orange dress flapped against the green jacket, shining in the sun. When she stopped, September unfastened the jeweled orange key from her lapel and pricked her fingers sharply with its pin. Blood welled up and dripped onto the blue stones. She laid the key gently at the feet of the impassive latitude and longitude and drew a deep breath. I want to go home, she lied softly. Latitude and longitude turned smoothly towards each other as though they were on pedestals. They began to bend and fold like staircases, reaching out for each other and interlocking hand into hand, foot onto knee, arms akimbo. They moved mechanically in their strange circus dance, jerkily, joints swinging like dolls. The street shook a little and then was still. Ever so briefly, latitude and longitude kissed, and when they parted, there was a space between their mouths just large enough for a leopard carrying a harsh air and a little girl. All September could see on the other side were clouds. Solemnly, the green wind held out his gloved hand to the girl in orange. Well done, September, he said, and lifted her onto the leopard's emerald saddle. One can never see what happens after the exeunt on a leopard. It is against the rules of theater. But cheating has always been a purview of fairies, and as we are about to enter their domain, we ought to act in accordance with local customs. For you see, when September and the green wind had gone through the puzzle of the world on their great cat, the jeweled key rose up and swooped in behind them, as quiet as he liked.
Thank you.
I
was
really
amazing.
liked it.
My
So
favorite
good.
part is that you don't tell the author. So if people really want to know, they'll either have to get a kindly private message like I got a couple days ago, or use their imagination and search hard and see if they can discover it on their own.
Good luck.
That was beautiful.
I thought
Yeah,
it
it's
was
amazing.
really good. And I especially liked the fairyland cosmology
Mm.
and like the world mechanics. And it was kind of a funny coincidence that on my Zoom call in from my computer, I put on a cosmic egg artwork of mine.
I like it. I thought it was fun to catch
Hey,
that
Chance.
cosmology.
I love that part. And like how there were 6 winds and how he explained that it was like the earth was a puzzle.
Yeah, it's great.
Chance, can you see what that is right there?
Hold on, I got to scroll over. Oh, yeah. Oh, turtle. Scaled egg.
Skill egg.
Love it.
Sweet.
That's super cool.
I was just putting some scales on myself.
Gordy, you just reminded me that I have a softball without the
Nice.
cover on it that I've been meaning to do something with.
Yeah, I just found this out in the desert.
Yeah. Yeah, you made some kind of an offer with it, didn't you? Like, isn't that a
Yeah.
prize? It's a
This
prize.
is whoever wins bingo.
The bingo.
Well, yeah, I got started on the card. I think we really will have to make a vote to determine for certain what the squares are, or just
Will
keep
you-
filling up and making new cards, one or the other. You know,
Can you guys explain the bingo?
just a real game of bingo based on
Old
what
MacDonald
people-
had a farm.
Yeah, you know the rest, Jim.
BINGOBI.
Oh man, are we gonna do this? And now we have to snap to INGO, INGO,
Right.
INGO.
Well, what is the name of?
I don't remember where the idea started, but someone had the idea to make a bingo card of weaving spiders welcome events. You know, whether it's something someone says or does, or you know, a pet appears or not.
Or like a drinking game?
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody sings.
Somebody in this room has made a bingo card for a show before.
Yeah, I saw that. It was a nice card too. It was a good one.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, did I miss that? You guys are hard to keep up on.
Your pictures are amazing, Jenny.
Aw.
Those look beautiful.
Yeah, they are.
Oh my gosh, the bit Rachel read, I was getting so into that. Like, wow, that's like the best.
No, I want more of
Bedtime
it.
story.
I know it's a total tease, right? Maybe we'll have to read
What
one
happens
chapter every quarter. Not every week, but every quarter. Once every 3 months, you get another chapter.
There you go. And it might not even be the second chapter.
That'd be beautiful.
It'll
It'd be
be
very
out
obvious to
of
me.
order.
Yeah,
It'd be great.
give it that Pulp Fiction vibe.
But I think for this East Coaster, I'm gonna call it. Here's close-ups. Wow.
Holy smokes.
Oh, how
But this
cool,
like
man.
this like really came alive with September, really. Like
Yeah,
totally.
yes.
Beautiful.
And like, cause no, like no offense, but the first that was this one. I was like, didn't know what to do. It was like kind
Oh, I
of
like
messed up. Like the first guy who had issues with his himself.
Yeah.
Mm.
This was one I did just before because I was just warming up.
Wow. You're
Thanks,
fast.
guys.
So
Thank you
good.
all.
That's like perfect for cigarette machine art.
Right?
Oh
It's the
yeah.
perfect size. Is that what you're doing with those? Have you done that with them?
Maybe we'll see.
Rad.
It'd be a
But
nice poster.
I like the sculpture idea, so maybe I'll do that next time.
Cool.
All the possibilities.
You
They're
can make
Thanks,
t-shirts out of
guys.
those. Those are pretty.
Thank you.
Catch you on the flip.
Yeah.
Peace, Jenny.
Very
Bye,
cool. See
Jennifer.
ya.
Yeah, have a good night.
Those were great.
Those were beautiful.
I like them a lot.
She should do a tarot deck or,
Yeah.
or an oracle deck.
Oh, an
yeah.
oracle would be really pretty.
That would be awesome.
Nice.
I guess if I was gonna show whatever I've been trying to work on, I'd have to take away the red lens and maybe turn that light back off.
Mhm.
So here's a bunch of faces.
Oh yeah.
There's like a different one on the top. I don't know if we can. I'm afraid they'll fall off there. They're really soft, so I got to keep them stuck on this thing. And I think I'm gonna try to. It's a guitar slide. Well, what it is a Renaissance bottle.
Oh,
This old bottle that like aspirin used to come in, and Dwayne
Mhm.
Allman used to use that as his slide. So they produce them as a guitar slide, and then I went over to another bottle and I made a really more mashed up looking, scary looking one. See, the camera doesn't really want to show it, but I'm just gonna keep filling up bottles. I got a bottle from last week from the regular show over here. I don't know. It's all green.
Whoa.
Oh, that's cool.
On these little faces. I like that guy's nose sticking way out like that.
Oh, that's cool.
And this,
That's rad.
I've made
I like
I've made
that one.
lots and lots of things of these things, and these ones would be pretty easy to part with because I could make them. I'm gonna try to fire them on these bottles, and if it shouldn't be so hot that it'll melt the lid on that one bottle. There's a dollar bill trapped inside, which I'm willing to sacrifice if it catches on fire. That's fine.
You're not going to
in a
ruin your
way-
slide, are you?
No, it won't. I mean, I really doubt it. And I've got more slides, so
I always break them. I tried I tried using a glass slide on a 6-string bass. It's
yeah.
difficult.
Yeah, see this. I think this one's plastic. This is the one I use all the time, Gordy. I think it's plastic.
Yeah.
And it works good. This one that works the best, you know.
Have you seen those ones that are like PVC and they have kind of that muting sound?
Yeah.
Almost like fretless sound?
Yeah. I messed with one just once for a second, and I think I could fall in love with it if I had a bunch of electric guitar settings to play with. But just in general, through an
Yeah.
amp, it was like, it's so muted and weird. I think my brain was just trying to reject it out of orthodoxy. Like, what the hell is this? You know?
Right.
It's got standards.
But yeah, exactly. Like,
What's
who allowed
orthodoxy
this?
for your brain, though? That's what that made me wonder.
What'd you say? What's what?
What's orthodox,
Orthodox.
for Sean's brain? You know, like that's
Yeah,
gotta
I mean,
be like what are your default settings? You know, they've got to be
Yeah,
pretty interesting.
they're pretty far out, really. But yeah, I mean, that's it. It's like for me to expand my mind on the idea of what it means to be a guitar slide. I mean, we used to play with these things, not this size, a regular size Bic lighter. You know, that used to be the main thing to do. You just put that in your hand, or a beer bottle like this. Just set
Whatever
that
you
across
got,
the strings. You know, so for it to be really dull like PVC, I was like, man, it's not even as bright as a lighter. You know, and the lighters are pretty dull sound on the strings, so.
It does kind of
Yeah.
have that weird Jeff Beck sound, though. Like, you know how Jeff Beck does it in his fingers.
Yeah.
He has that sound because it's all organic, because it's all here. Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why he's the only one that sounds like that.
Yeah,
And
playing
that
with your
slide
fingers
just can't do it.
No, playing with your fingers exclusively does something very different. And Jeff Beck, I would say, is probably the living master of it on the earth right now.
For
I mean,
sure.
not that James Taylor and Lindsey Buckingham and who was the other guy from
Lindsey Buckingham, so good.
Dire Straits, Mark Knopfler. Now these guys are all
Mark
amazing
Knopfler.
finger players too, but I don't think they could touch what Jeff Beck's doing, especially as
Yeah.
old as he is now.
Yeah,
But I'd
they're
say
gonna lose
that's
a
a
big
bit.
one.
I'll give away the true secret to playing guitar for everyone who's listening right now. And the true secret, beyond anything you can learn from most things on YouTube or out of a book, is how to really master your left and right hand muting. So on the right hand, they call it a palm mute. On the left hand, they just call it left-handed muting. And that's really what Jeff Beck's mastered, which is how to control the sound in between notes, or how to allow sounds to blend into each other. And that's the key, the real key. That just like
Yeah.
there's a secret to a poker game or a secret to any art, you know, the real secret to the guitar is muting.
That's
And
like
if you-
learning English in playing pool.
Yeah, exactly. I used to play a lot of
Mhm.
pool.
Did you guys know Michael Tessarion is a master guitarist?
No, I didn't know that. Interesting.
He is a master of like folk style classical guitar, like Dadgad and open tunings,
Yeah,
where
cool.
it's the lead and the rhythm.
Yeah.
Finger
Playing
picking.
both at the same time. Yeah. Oh, does he have it published anywhere?
Yeah, do you want me to play like a 2-minute one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do
do you
it,
have
do
some?
it for sure.
Yeah.
I have one with graphics with it too,
Yeah.
from when he was on the show. Okay, I'll go find it. It's really good. Like, I mean, this is definitely flow state music. It's sounds
I
like
haven't listened to Tessarion for so many years I can't even remember any of his stuff. I got to go back and look at it, I guess.
he's pretty awesome. So I'll just pull this up. It's in my archive somewhere. Because when he was on, I put it as the outro for an episode.
Yeah. In the archive, you probably have a huge archive. You've been doing this for a long time, haven't you, Chance?
Yeah, I'm probably closing in on 300 episodes.
That's kick
Wow,
ass,
really?
man.
How long have you been
Yeah.
doing it?
Fantastic.
I started at the very end, December of 2015. So the show is a Sagittarius.
Nice.
Sweet.
Wow.
So fitting.
Yeah, so the same time I was rediscovering Flat Earth, you were getting your show off the ground.
Yeah, but at the beginning, it was all about art. It was about musicians and painters. So
That's
it's
cool, though.
Oh, it is cool. But like, that was why eventually, eventually you had to just pick a side and go full conspirituality because the world is so crazy. You can't hide from that anymore when you're a fire sign. But the Vibrant idea was so that I could get more into just the fun and the art side. And then the fact that we're doing this is, man, this is awesome.
Yeah, this was Jim's
is a
idea
dream.
on Picture Show, and we really loved it because it was Jim's idea from. You said you did it in college, right, Jim? Is that right?
Yeah, I took a sculpt and listen class, and it just blew my mind. Like,
That's so cool.
it was like a 2-hour class, and it flew by. So much fun.
Yeah.
We just had a
And
chance to, like, each person got brought in something and read it for like the class. We all got to read once, and it was so fun. I wanted to do it after that, like, again and again, but it wasn't offered very much, the class. So
yeah, so now it's turned into FlowState, and it can go on as often as we choose.
FlowState, yeah, I'd like to do it, after Vibrant in the future, as often as it works out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so make sure that it can be heard. Let me make sure that part. Oh, yeah. Right now, it's just going to be a faded picture of my face because I don't have it like in a separate video. It's just at the end of a video. Okay. I guess I'll know if I can hear it because I'm listening to my phone. No, I don't think so. Oh, it's just muted. Let's see here. No. This may not work. Trying to get sound to come through a Zoom. Is that actually hard?
Sometimes. If you screen share, it should come through.
Oh, wow. Yeah, wouldn't that be simpler? I'm such a good tech guy.
Makes me feel a lot better about my tech skills.
Yeah, but I don't know if I hear it, to be honest. This may have been a bunk idea.
That's a good idea.
Learning, though, like once I learned, then I could do it anytime.
Yeah, sometimes I hate technology. Sometimes I love it.
I remember an episode from RX Picture Show you guys did with Tracy reading while you guys were doing art. And I think I saw it maybe twice. And then I went back. I would go back and try to find it again. And I swear I've combed through all of the RX Picture Show episodes trying to find this one again. Do you guys remember? She read a story about Jesus following a witch, and the witch knew a secret password to open the rock to walk into a secret cave. Does this sound familiar?
I think so.
You guys hear the music now?
Yeah, I can kind of hear it.
The video's playing kind of choppy, I think, because I've got Zoom running also, but you can hear it. That's what matters. This is Tessarion.
Oh.
Yeah, I definitely remember that game.
It's this one called Crown of Oberon. So he's got multiple albums like this. Some of them are like minor key, some of them are lively and sound like a tavern song that you'd hear or something in a medieval fantasy sorcery game.
Totally my jams.
He's quite the bard.
Yeah, man.
Another cosmology kaleidoscope with the tree of life, the sun, moon, and eclipse.
Was Tessarion on Skeptico like years ago?
I'm sure he's been on
Long ass time
Skeptico.
ago.
Yeah, probably.
God, I love that show, dude.
Yeah.
Have you listened to the last one?
I just can't take him seriously because he won't look at the fact that there's no curvature.
I emailed them about it.
Did you?
Bro.
Kills
Yeah, a
me.
long time ago.
Dude, we should talk to him.
I know the same
I
is
got-
true, but you know what? That would count for Tessarion too, so I guess I shouldn't be choosy like that.
Oh, good point.
But at least he's got, like, Tessarion, I'm just going to it for the psychology. Psychology doesn't require cosmology.
That's what psychology thinks.
Oh, that was a good one, dude. So accurate.
Gordy,
Enjoy
who was,
psychology. Can
The same
confirm.
thing.
Gordy, who was
What's
the
that?
most recent one on the Skeptico?
That's
I haven't
beautiful.
seen it yet.
Oh crap! Who was it? It was the guy that did that. That does the positive thinking teardown stuff. Can't remember his name.
I'm still
That guy's
cracking up.
name's
That's
Sar-
what cosmology thinks.
No, that's even better. That's what I wonder what cosmology thinks, but what psychology thinks is probably wrong. My brain wants to reify everything.
Oh, yeah.
give everything its due, its space. So now that guy from Skeptico, his last name is it
Sakaris?
Sakaris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Alex
sick of
Sakaris.
his confrontational style, so I went away from it. I never have gone back, but I did enjoy it. And I was
I
trying
did
to take him
too.
to square flat Earth because I figured that was my angle to get him to bite. Was that it's like, yeah, but these round maps are all wrong, so you got to look at it. But he just kind of shined me on and put me off,
Yeah,
like these guys do
I
that
really
don't
got
want
turned
to
off.
touch it.
I really got turned off when he was on Grimerica, and they had him on with another guest, and he was like really confrontational. And I was like, God, is he just being a dick? I don't know. I don't understand.
Oh, I think it's his shtick. A lot of people, it's kind of not as popular as it used to be, but it used to be that you kind of had to have your shtick, like your persona.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know if that's
Do you think
true.
that's what it was for him? Think there was a
I don't
shtick
know.
for him?
I wonder if he's not just a guy who's playing some kind of a role for some reason, and so he has to stick to some kind of a pattern. I see a lot of people that are that way. And I'm not trying to compare him to Alex Jones or anything obvious like that. Not calling him a shill. Don't misunderstand me. He just might be in a position for whatever reason to have to limit his role, and people, whenever they see that, they always immediately presume that means like that you're some kind of a government agent. But I don't necessarily. I used to think that way when I was younger, but I don't necessarily think that anymore. There's lots of reasons somebody might limit their role, and it might
I
be
feel like
because of
his
their own
role is
choice.
the black pill of science as a concept.
Yeah, that seems right. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And like guys like Gordon White is pretty much openly trying to bring animism fully back into the world and welcome magic back into the world. And I see those
I
guys
hope
as
so.
being similar, like same goal but a different approach, right? Like one
Mm-hmm.
guy just bringing it out all soft but full color, and the other guy like instead hacking away at the foundation of the old and being like, look, they try to tell you what matter is and what consciousness are, and they're wrong about everything. Like they're so wrong that they're not actually right about anything. I mean, I can't say I
Yes.
disagree with him.
Yep. Bad
The,
foundation.
the way Imsar describes it is that the materialists kept trying to scrub the paint off the canvas and get to the bottom of it and find out what the canvas was made of. And when they got there was no canvas.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Now, who'd you said it that way?
I mean, that was a horrific paraphrasing, but that's the way Tessarion describes
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. That's what I thought you said. Just
scientism.
making sure.
All right. So
Turtles all the way down.
yeah.
Here, here.
Yeah.
I like
Here,
that.
here.
So I got a section here out of Carl Sagan's The Dragons of Eden that I've wanted to share for a while. And since we're on the subject of bad premises, this little section, I guess I should preface it by saying I disagree heavily with a lot of what Carl Sagan puts forward. The guy's brilliant, but he's got a very mainstream bend. And what I've selected here is not just extracting the Darwinistic paradigm from what he has to say, which is a lot of what this book is about, but also I think this section here in particular reeks to high heaven of Knights Templar cat initiation and using it as a sifting of
There you
the
go.
RH negatives from the RH positives.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh man.
Yeah, buddy.
And you haven't even spoiled it yet?
You're going to dig this. You're going to dig this. So, again, remember the title, The Dragons of Eden.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's quite the book. So,
yeah, buddy.
This is chapter 3, and the chapter This is the beginning of chapter 3. And the name of this chapter is The Brain and the Chariot. And keep in mind that Knights Templar, Darwinistic, kind of anti-Christian spin as these words flow out. The brain of a fish isn't much. A fish has a notochord or spinal cord, which it shares with even humbler invertebrates. A primitive fish also has a little swelling at the front end of the spinal cord, which is its brain. In higher fish, the swelling is further developed, but still weighs no more than a gram or two. That swelling corresponds in higher animals to the midbrain or brainstem of the midbrain. The brain of modern fish are chiefly midbrain with a tiny forebrain. In modern amphibians and reptiles, it is the other way around. And yet, fossils, endocasts of the earliest known vertebrates show that the principal divisions of the modern brain, hindbrain, midbrain, and forebrain, for example, were already established 500 million years ago. Swimming in the primitive seas, there were fishy creatures called ostracoderms and placoderms, whose brains had recognizably the same major divisions as ours. But a relative size and importance of these components and even their early functions were certainly very different from today. One of the most engaging views of the subsequent evolution of the brain is a story of successive accretion and specialization of 3 further layers surmounting the spinal cord: hindbrain and midbrain. So those are the 3 layers he's focusing on: spinal cord, hindbrain, and midbrain. After each evolutionary step, the older portions of the brain still exist and must still be accommodated. But a new layer with a new function has been added. The principal contemporary exponent of this view is Paul MacLean, chief of the Laboratory of Brain Evolution and Behavior of the National Institute of Mental Health. That's NIM. That's from The Secrets of NIM. That's what Miss Jonathan Brigsby had to break the rats out of the National Institute of Mental Health. So there we have the mice, which are the vector for toxoplasmosis.
Nimrod, too.
Oh, shit. It's a great call, dude. Wow.
Hey, do you remember us talking about, like, one of the first times we talked, you and me, Gabe, was about Nimrod? Because I was having dreams about it.
That's right. I do.
Remember that?
I do. Good point. And then I went on and made a video about it a couple days later.
Yeah.
He's Gilgamesh, and Gilgamesh was Uma Thurman in Kill Bill.
Right.
And
That's
Bill,
really cool.
Yes. And Bill was Bill is Ophiuchus. And yeah, good call. So one hallmark of MacLean's work is that it encompasses many different animals, ranging from lizards to squirrel monkeys. Another is that he and his colleagues have studied carefully the social and other behavior of these animals to improve their prospects of discovering what part of the brain controls what sort of behavior. Squirrel monkeys with Gothic facial markings have a kind of ritual or display which they perform when greeting one another. The males bare their teeth, rattle the bars of their cage, utter a high-pitched squeak, which is possibly terrifying to squirrel monkeys, and lift their legs to exhibit an erect penis. While such behavior would border on impoliteness at many contemporary human social gatherings, it is a fairly elaborate act and serves to maintain dominance hierarchies in squirrel monkey communities. And this is where things get good. This next part is just chock full of stuff, just fodder for the spiders here.
Spider fodder. I like that
Yeah.
term.
McLean has found that a lesion on one small part of a squirrel monkey's brain will prevent this display, while leaving a whole wide range of other behavior intact, including sexual and combative behavior. The part that is involved in this oldest part of the forebrain, a part that humans as well as other primates share with our mammalian and reptilian ancestors, in non-primate mammals and in reptiles, comparable ritualized behavior seems to be controlled in the same part of the brain, and lesions in this reptilian component can impair other automatic types of behavior besides ritual. For example, walking or running. Notice now we got monkeys, we got NIM, and we're talking about ritual. The connection between sexual display and positions in dominance hierarchy can be found frequently among the primates. Among Japanese macaques, social class is maintained and reinforced by daily mounting. Males of lower caste adopt the characteristic submissive sexual posture of a female in oestrus and are briefly and ceremonially mounted by higher caste males. These mountings are both common and perfunctory. They seem to have little sexual content, but rather serve as easily understood symbols of who is who in a complex society. Fucking eugenists all the way, man. In one study of behavior of the squirrel monkey named Casper, the dominant animal in the colony and by far the most active displayer was never seen to copulate, although he accounted for 2/3 of the genital display in the colony, most of it directed toward other adult males. The fact that Casper was highly motivated to establish dominance, but insignificantly motivated towards sex, suggests that while those two functions may involve identical organ systems, they are quite separate. I bet Dylan Sakosio would have a lot to say about that part right there. The scientists studying this colony concluded genital display is therefore considered the most effective social signal with respect to group hierarchy. It is ritualized and seems to acquire the meaning, I am the master. It is most probably derived from sexual activity, but it is used for social communication and separated from reproductive activity. In other words, genital display is a ritual derived from sexual behavior, but serving social and not reproductive purposes. In the television interview in 1976, a professional football player was asked by the talk show host if he was embarrassed for football players to be together in the locker room with no clothes on. His immediate response, "We strut. No embarrassment at all. It's as if we're saying to each other, let's see what you got, man." Except for a few, like the specialty team members and the water boy.
That's funny. He threw special teams under the bus.
The behavioral as well as the neuroanatomical, that's it, The behavioral as well as the neuroanatomical connections between sex, aggression, and dominance are born out of a variety of studies. The mating rituals of great cats and many other animals are barely distinguishable in their early stages from fighting. It is a commonplace that domestic cats sometimes purr loudly and pervasively while their claws are slowly raking over upholstered or lightly clad human skin. The use of sex to establish and maintain dominance is sometimes evident in human heterosexual and homosexual practices. Why did he have to say both? Why didn't he just say human practices? Although it is not, of course, the only element in such practices, as well as in many obscene utterances. Consider the particular circumstance that the most common two-word verbal aggression in English and in many other languages refers to the act of surpassing physical pleasure. The English form probably comes from a Germanic and Middle Dutch verb folken, F-O-K-K-E-N, meaning to strike. This otherwise puzzling usage can be understood as a verbal equivalent of macaque symbolic language, with the initial word I, unstated but understood by both parties. It and many similar expressions seem to be human ceremonial mountings. As we will see, such behavior probably extends further back than monkeys, back through hundreds of million years of geological time.
Gabe, there's this book I read and I passed on to Catherine O'Shea that was about the language of animals and how they communicate within the tribes within each other.
Yeah.
And part of it was about these elephants were displaying psychic behavior, like knowing what other parts of their herds were doing without knowing where they were or anything. And like there was like tangible evidence of them having a knowing without knowing. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
It was demonstrated in wolves as well that had been separated from the pack.
Wow.
And there's this really fascinating story about I think his name was number 24, and this was a lead wolf in Yellowstone. And this guy that wrote this book is a language biologist of some sort. I don't know how that weird specialty happens, but he'd written this book about how because he observed them for like 2-3 years and of behavior, and they've had these patterns of behavior of having, like, some of them end up like mafias, like a bunch of dumb frat boys, you know, and then some of them turn out to be really interesting, intricate mothering packs, you know, and they all have these interesting little cultures among them, among all the wolf packs. It's fascinating.
Wow. That sounds like a really good one. I love that idea of them, you know, communicating in ways beyond our perception.
They do. I swear to God, they do, man. I can't explain that kind of connection. You know, I kind of run it over in my head. I'm like, how do I understand their like
We talked about it in Vibrant tonight. It's one mind with a bunch of receivers. It's just that those receivers, when it comes to animals that are purely instinctual, they're transmitters back to the one mind as well, and they're clear transmitters that are sending accurate data of the present moment. So big mind gets it, and then it sends the next instruction to all the little minds. It's just us that have gotten disconnected from capital R reality and the real feeling level of consciousness and the perception of all the multidimensional rhythms, that we fall out of sync because we're not sending accurate data enough to get accurate instructions back. If that makes sense. If you look at us like a Mars rover,
right?
For source, for God.
That's it. You know, Tazarian said something a while back about dolphins, kind of like what you were saying, Gordy, how they recorded the dolphin calls, and they did a computer breakdown of how many layers of transmission and information are packed into just these what sound like simple, quick little chirps to us. But in fact, the layers and depths of complex messaging is like beyond comprehension. The computers are probably even challenged to pick up everything in there. And that was a moment for me. Like I know that we're removed from animals, and I guess I had to check my own hubris, because I thought of it as we are the stewards for the animals. But I'm starting to think, in light of what you said and what Tazarian said, and like Chance is putting forward, that we're the
students of the animals, not the stewards.
We're the students.
Absolutely.
That's it.
The students. We're the students.
Yep.
Yeah. I'd rather be their pet.
Schelling. There's an amazing quote from Schelling.
Oh,
that
you guys haven't seen the thing
spirit.
with
Let me split this out real quick.
Sorry.
No, it's just like one sentence. Nature is visible spirit. Spirit is invisible nature.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that before. Isn't that beautiful?
I mean, if nature is God or source, then that sums it up perfectly.
But I remember that Christian author. Well, St. Augustine even talks about it in City of God of creation. The being the reflection of God in a tangible way, like to go out in nature and because he went out in nature and spoke to God for like that was like a part of his like I don't know, he was one of those hidden monks or whatever they call them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've had people from certain dogmatic religions tell me, though, that I'm mixing up the creator with the creation.
I've heard that.
And I just it wouldn't supreme being be at all? Yeah, how do you separate it? It's not supreme being if it's not everything in existence.
Existence only exists within the supreme being, so you can't exist outside of it. Oh, cool! Wow.
So
nice.
I had dreams about this.
At first, it looked like boobs with a woman giving birth to me. Then I saw the face. Yeah, I flashbacks.
It's a Mantis dude in a suit.
Yeah, I see that.
Cool.
I thought it was boobs at first too.
Yeah, no, it's both there. Yeah, it looks great. No, it looks great. Don't misunderstand us. It looks great. Oh wow!
It was just a quick glance.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Solid, Gordy. That is so sweet.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
So
I'm trying to find Gordy on my screen. Okay,
Nice.
yeah, give it a whole round again. I'm looking now.
right here it says infinite butter, and there's a sacrifice of butter on the altar.
Nice.
The butter altar. I love it.
Every home should
And-
have one.
Well, that's what you're
And
supposed to leave out for
they,
the fairies.
The butter altar.
Leave some out for the fairies, or you're asking for it, right?
Hey,
Oh yeah.
Your ass will be the butter.
Rachel, do you know dragons well? Like
Dragons?
the different kinds?
I probably used to. Yeah, I know there's a bunch of different kinds. It's usually by color.
Yeah, like this is. It doesn't have wings, but it's four-legged
Oh. Mm-hmm.
and a scaled egg kind of tail. I don't know, spiky.
Yeah, I don't remember what they
You
are
should
when they don't
s-
have wings. I actually had a chart. I'm not gonna lie.
We could just
At one
call
point.
we could just call it a wish dragon to make Alan happy.
Yeah,
Marcus Allen.
right, exactly. Sure.
No, it's a luck
That's for
dragon.
you, Alan.
You've already
luck,
upset
yeah.
Alan.
Luck dragon.
Oh,
He's mad.
totally
Alan will get
fucked that
Alan will
up.
get over it. Besides, he'll
I
hide it pretty good, so you won't know he's upset.
I did. I totally called it a
I'm
wish
gonna-
dragon.
Oh, but that's
Do
good
it.
to me because that's a new kind.
Bet you
of
wish you could take
dragon.
that back.
See, the scary
if you're
scary
too late.
thing is
If you're
is
lucky,
he'll,
you can.
he'll bring it back up like 6 weeks later, and after
Yeah.
everybody's all forgotten about it, he'll be like make some long ass 30-minute drawl about how the puppets in Liverpool are related to a wish dragon.
That's funny. I like that it's a new dragon. I never thought of a wish dragon until just now. Maybe you need a wish dragon to find a luck dragon.
Nice.
Because you can wish with the wish dragon. I wonder how many wishes a wish dragon gives. Is it 3 like a genie and a leprechaun? Is 3 like the standard? Is that like a benchmark, like train tracks being the same distance apart? Like 3 wishes no matter what?
Yeah, I
Did
kind of
you-
think so.
Did you
I think
sorry. Did you ever
No,
see
it's
that
always
movie
that way.
Darby O'Gill and the Little People?
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't thought about
If
that
you
in a
wish
long time. Yeah.
if you wish a 4th wish, you lose them all.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
That's how he
remember
gets in
that.
every time. Yeah. You get 3
yeah.
wishes.
Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
So
Sean
goofy.
Connery.
There you go.
Yeah, young Sean Connery. He sings in it too.
Was that his? I
Disney.
think that
Yeah,
was his
that's
first
right.
movie. I think that was his first movie. If I remember.
Was it really? That's a big movie for a first movie.
Can we watch, speaking of
All the special
Sean Connery,
effects and stuff.
can we watch Zardoz on a Friday night?
Oh my God, please.
Yeah,
Oh
okay.
my God, please.
Yes,
That is
Zardoz.
have you guys seen this thing?
Yes.
No.
Once. I've only
Oh
seen
my
it
God.
once.
Yeah, me too. I've only
It's
seen it
the
once too, and it's so
weirdest-
long ago.
Oh man, it is.
It's
We would
so
have a field day.
terrible.
No, it's
Oh.
not, dude. It is so accurate to transhumanism. Like rewatch it with the themes
Yeah.
in mind, not the low budget. And it is,
It really is.
and also
It's really-
dismiss the acting. Just take it on plot and themes and symbolism alone, and it is a dire warning for sure. And a really well done one. No, they would just make it gay.
Yeah. I remember.
No, I said us. Maybe we could remake it somehow.
Oh,
Oh,
I
Not
don't
them,
know.
us. Like we
Can
could
we
make
get-
it with
well,
sock
start
puppets and drawings. Yeah,
Start
exactly.
sculpting a giant head. You need to sculpt the giant flying head.
Yeah, I can
first.
get that done. Me and Jim can bust that out. I'll do half and you do half, Jim. Is that fair?
Sounds
I want it
good.
to scale though. I don't want
That's
like
fine.
I don't want a miniature model.
No, that's fine.
Well,
Now you're making me think of what's the movie Spinal Tap when the
Also, Gabriel should wear the
Stonehenge?
Sean Connery
yes,
character.
Stonehenge.
Wear the suit.
Yeah,
Where the
I agree with that.
diaper, Gabriel.
I agree with that. Gabe, you're gonna have to like come up with some way to weasel out of that if you don't like it, because you are the guy wearing the suit in my mind already. So it's all but over at this point. I'm named after Sean Connery. That's why my name is spelled Sean.
Are you really? How funny.
My mother
My,
said, and I quote, "If Sean Connery spells it like that, then it must be right."
It is actually
It's
correct.
hilarious.
Thank you, Mom. I exaggerate that to being named after James Bond. I was named after James Bond. That's what I tell people.
Nice.
So I was wrong about Darby O'Gill being his first movie. His first movie was actually Lilacs in the Spring.
That's why, you know what? You've got integrity, Jim, that you corrected that. That's
pretty
real
good that I can't believe that I've never heard your Sean Connery impression until now, and it's this good.
I'm kind of rusty.
It's great.
That was good. No, that was good.
That was really good.
I'll be right back.
I love it.
I'd also like to watch Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that movie so much.
Oh,
dude.
the other one.
Maybe
I thought of another one too.
I could sucker Johnny into that one because that's like one of his favorite movies. Like we bonded over that when we first started talking. I'm like, oh my God, you love Flash Gordon too?
Yeah, I'll watch Flash Gordon for sure.
It's so fucking weird.
Did you guys already do the
I need to get back on that group. Man. I've been failing.
Joe Dworsky's main film. Can't think of
it.
Holy Mountain?
Yeah, the Holy Mountain.
Oh, the Holy Mountain. Oh, the other one. Yeah.
Not yet. We're kind of creeped out a little bit.
Holy Mountain is far out mind blowing trip, man. It'll mess you up for life, but it's still worth watching in my opinion.
Every time I tried to watch it, I feel like I'm taking part in some kind of magic I don't understand yet.
You are. It's beyond any doubt. It's such a trip.
That's not that. Is that thing that became it's like a cult? It's like a fake cult that they created. Did you guys see that documentary?
Might have been. I don't know. That wouldn't surprise me if the Holy Mountain turned into a cult. I mean, it's got a scene where Jesus meets a guy with no arms and no legs, and they run off together, and the guy with no arms and no legs shows Jesus how he can roll a joint with no arms and no legs, and then they smoke it. I mean, you got to watch it even just for that, you know.
Oh my God, that's great.
I mean, it's real too. It's nice. I mean, this is old in the 70s, so it's for real. Yeah. Like I remember
you
watching
can't teach an old Jesus new tricks.
It's true.
Well, we would do greater works, so taking notes.
Does he like struggle? And at the end, Jesus was like, I could have just gave you your arms back. But I really wanted to see if you could do it.
Now you're tempting me to make a different movie where Chance is just Jesus and that's it. We just go around.
I'm going for the look, you know. I'm seeing how far the beard can get by 33.
Yeah.
The hair's getting long.
I had a flashback memory on my 46th birthday that on my 33rd birthday, I actually carved a pumpkin inside of a triangle with like the all-seeing eye with the number 33 in the middle. There's probably a picture of it somewhere.
That sounds awesome.
Chance, what do you know about the new plot to Spider-Verse or whatever the new Spider-Verse movie is with Doctor Strange?
Oh, very little to nothing. I don't want to ruin what I like about Spider-Man by watching the live action films. So I haven't seen any of the current ones, any of the whatever the you know what how much my distaste for it is. I almost acted like I didn't know the actor's name. Tom Holland just to show how much I just
I love that man. I love that man.
I know his
Exactly.
name. I know his name,
Fucking
but
forgot you.
I have.
ruining.
I swear I
love-
haven't seen
that's
it.
right.
It's not his
I-
fault, you know. It's not his fault I haven't seen it.
I love. I love. I
the
love that
Spider-Verse
you're petty,
cartoon was
dude. I
dope.
love it.
Dude, I have a
'Cause that's
Spider-Man
that's the way
tattoo
I
on my
am, too.
arm. I take it. That shit is serious to me.
Yeah.
It's sacred.
I do too, man. I'm so upset. Like, I hate this X-Men shit that they're
The
doing.
animated Spider-Verse
Oh my
was
God.
super good. Just so everyone knows,
It was fun. I liked it.
I have
Just
nothing.
remember that
There is
they're
nothing wrong with that
destroying your
movie for
heroes
me.
on purpose because they want that energy. They want that energy of what it means when they invert and destroy what's been right, quote unquote, right forever. You know.
Yeah, have you seen how they're flooding the market? Like they're doing like one after another of those Disney Disney Plus series. They're like doing Miss Marvel. They're doing She-Hulk.
Dude, it's
Yeah,
the last
sorts
gasp
of-
into the metaverse.
They're
It's
just
like, just look
throwing
over here.
all-
Just look over
everything
here.
at the wall.
Take your cowpokes and look how much we've got for you to watch. Just watch the Big D. Watch the Big D. Mickey
Quick,
Mouse
quick.
Club forever. Castrate yourself virtually by doing no physical activity anymore because all you do is watch
Disney
live action
Plus.
cartoons.
It's disturbing.
Yes. Anyway, that
Well-
was maybe a little harsh. I'm not calling out anyone
No.
that watches this or that.
Oh no.
I
No.
It's not
would
harsh.
recommend just not watching TV shows though and making art.
Or at
It's
least watch
actually-
an art show and make art. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
you
like
know
this is a good example. Watch an art show and make art.
I wonder how many people are making art right now with us.
I hope a lot. And Jim actually made an art gallery page on Telegram that I think I'm the only one that joined it last time I looked, but he linked
Oh,
it in the
shoot.
live chat.
Shoot.
And it would be great if people posted progress pictures, or they could also do that in my daily art practice group. I've got one of those too.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great group. I'm
Maybe
glad I
we should
joined.
just merge. Jim, if you want to become an admin of that group and just merge, so there's
Sure.
already people in it, we could do that. And then
Okay, cool.
because
Wait,
it's already
Jim,
got a
this is-
history of art and people chatting about and sharing their art every day. And it's got 33 members last time I looked.
Sounds
This is
great.
different.
So it's
It's
huge.
different than your meme page, huh, Jim? I guess I didn't know about the art thing.
I just opened it yesterday.
Jim's all in on Telegram now. I'm so glad. He's all in.
Well, it
Yeah.
took him forever to find a social media that he'd actually really love, and I sucked him into Twitter, and he does kick it with me on Twitter sometimes.
I
It's
was in
just so
Twitter for a
good on the
while.
gram.
Yeah, Twitter's got so much noise. Also,
It really does. You got to curate the shit out of your feed, or it's just worthless. And it's work, of course, to like keep adding or subtracting or blocking people all the time. I hate having to block people on Twitter. You got to use the block button in a serious fashion, man. There's so much bullshit going on. Like you just gotta be
Generous
like,
with the
nope.
block button.
You have to,
Yeah,
man. Otherwise, it sucks. I never used to be that way, but you just have to if you want your
Cootie's
sanity
world
and
made me that
happiness.
way.
yeah.
Don't care if I met you in real life or we went to high school together or whatever. You telling me you think I should die because I don't believe in covering my face at a grocery store, then
Isn't that amazing?
block
Like, where's
generously.
all sense gone?
Yeah.
Well, and it's a big problem
It's the
if
same
they're
story
saying
over
it.
and over again.
Yeah. If they're saying it online and you like your friends in real life, but they won't say it to your face, I don't need that, you know?
Yeah.
Well, how I do it is if they're cool to me later when I do see them in real life months later and they act like, we're fine, I'll just give them the
Yeah.
benefit of the doubt because they don't deserve my energy. I'm not gonna like turn it into a thing. But yeah, I don't know though. Jazz told me the greatest thing the last time I saw him about just how like people like that, if you just neutrally say the truth to them, like you called me a racist motherfucker on Facebook. Is that you hoped I died? And just say it just like that, not like it hurt
Yep.
my feelings or
Yeah.
fuck you. They just shrivel and they and
Yeah, they
melt
have to.
and they
They
disappear.
have to. Yeah.
And they turn into a pile of like dust and ashes.
It's true. I've done that to plenty of people who try to disrespect me one way or another, and then you catch them later at a bar or at a party or something, and just like he said, like Jazz said, I love that guy. Just call them straight on their bullshit, no emotion. Like, oh, you think I forgot that you said this and that and this and that about me? I didn't
Just
forget.
like you're reporting it to a court of law, like
Yeah.
No conjecture, just the facts. This is what it was.
Yeah, I've done that and tell people, I forgive you, man. It's all good. I knew you must have been upset that day. It's all good.
That's
We
good.
can kick it. Is they'll leave. They'll usually leave. Some people will be big about it and squash it though. And to me, that's really what it's all about, right?
Exactly,
Squash
because
it.
then you
Did you
connect.
change your mind? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can change your mind
Brilliant,
about
Sean.
me, and just because I'm different than you can change your mind. But I know you had a visceral reaction or whatever. But
Yeah, and it was on a platform that is like hypnotically designed to put people into a combative state.
yeah, well, that's it. That's another
Admittedly
thing.
so.
Yeah, people don't realize that all this
I'm
stuff
all
has
about
been
the Slack
sold.
mentality.
Yeah, Bob, be like Bob. As much as I hate that they delivered us Bob, that was the only truly sacrilegious godhead that I embraced at all. Old Bob Dobbs. I do like Bob Dobbs. I can't lie. And it is all about Slack, man. It's Slack. Cut
The
everybody some
opposite
slack,
of
cut
a lack
yourself a
mentality.
load. Yeah, you just got to add that. Put some in your lack.
I was a sub genius for years and never knew it.
Yeah, amen. My
Yeah, I
favorite is
discovered
still
Bob Dobbs because of Devo.
nice. I
Yeah,
did
I
it because
heard
of
it.
Sublime. Beautiful. Sublime.
Nice.
I think I'm done, guys. I think I'm about to put in the last little piece of color.
No way.
Sweet.
That's
How long you been working?
Yeah, what a blessing to be a part of this, man. To see you put the last
That's so
piece
cool.
Yeah. I think that's the true measure of a great artist is knowing when they're done.
in. It is.
Yeah.
Well, now you got me
Not
tripping.
good
I
at
don't know
that.
if I'm done. Maybe I'm not.
Well, you were definitely to the point where you knew where the color ended. That doesn't say anything about the entire composition. You might look at it and go, "Oh, I need this, I need that," but you were getting to the end of where you thought, how much
Yeah.
white do you usually leave? Do you usually leave a lot of white where it needs
Not
to be, or
usually
do you?
much. Not
Yeah.
much white. You wouldn't accuse me of being a white supremacist. Maybe you would. I don't know.
Well, I would anyway, depending on whether or not it benefited me.
Yeah, but I'll look at it again tomorrow and see. But you want me to do a zoom over it?
Yeah,
I
want to see it.
I'll put it in that group I mentioned. I'll go link that group too. I started in August, and then I've been trying to every day at least hit it for 15 minutes, which is usually at least 30 minutes. But it's ended up being more like 3 or 4 days a week that I got to it.
It's beautiful. I love all the small detail when you zoom in. That's why I said I want to make a big print. I love the cannon from last week.
Yeah, that was from last week. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was during the weave. I drew this part. So while we were here, I colored this section and this section and this one. And that legitimately took me that long. So
Oh, it takes forever.
only a few inches of color.
I have this huge painting chance.
But yeah,
It's
the
called,
shield is from last week too.
Sweet.
yeah, I like the Triforce. I saw the Triforce in there.
Cool. Yeah. You better
Wow.
take pictures of it and
What should I call it?
put it up.
Hey, Chance, have you the Atomic Dog video from Parliament?
No.
You should look it up. I haven't seen it in a long time. I
I'm
could be
super
wrong,
young.
but it kind of reminds me your arm.
Compared to Gordy. Just kidding, buddy.
I get it all the time.
I
All my
love
references
that.
are
I
so
love
out of
that you.
date, man.
Did you throw your camera on intentionally just now when you did that, or not? Yes.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. Show his young, beautiful face. Like, see, look how young I am. Though.
Look, Gordy looks super young and beautiful. He just tricks you with his pop culture, his ancient pop culture references. I'm just joking. I'm just jokes.
Me and Gordy are in the same camp because, like, everything he says, I'm like, yeah, and everyone else is like, what?
What? Old people. Boomers.
Who's Don Henley? A girl said that to me the other day, and I was just like, I was like, I forgot you're young. Man. Yeah, they cracked me up. She's like, who's Don Henley? And I just like had to be nice and walk away, like, get away from me, little kid.
Have you guys seen the documentary on the Eagles, the like 4-hour one?
No, I don't know if I could do it.
Holy
I love
shit,
and hate the
man.
Eagles at the same
Those
time.
guys are such assholes. It's hilarious.
There's a 4-hour documentary. I bootlegged it once at the Gorge at George. But yeah.
Yeah, it was
I could watch
one of
that.
my pirating thing. That's what I always go to when I find a new like pirate thing on the Amazon TV.
Yeah.
To use. Like if I can search for that, I can probably find a good, some interesting stuff on some of those.
It's funny once you have access to the pirate angle, how different your tastes become. Like if you have to pay, or you're already paying, you look like within a certain scope, like kind of your own personal hub. But as soon as you get like free access, you get the what do we call it? The genie cartridge, what we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
It opens up God Realm, and then all of a sudden I'm downloading Prince's whole discography, not just because I want it, but also because he didn't want me to be able to take it. And I'm also going and grabbing everything by Metallica just because to spite Lars Ulrich.
Yeah, despite them, exactly. They deserve it.
Right, and then then you end up like finding rare like Elliott Smith demos and getting depressed or something, because you just wander off a cliff,
I'm so glad I haven't made it that far.
I just
do some light pirating.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I can't speak to how women might behave with the pirate keys. It might be different,
Oh,
it might be a different vibe. Altogether.
No, my sister got busted. She used up so much internet. She got the house busted. I was like, she did what?
Because I definitely know some people that got letters in the mail. I know people that got letters in the mail for sure. Like, hey, Disney said you better stop using the BitTorrent or else, or whatever. It's funny.
So here's another one that's kind of recent. Let's see. It's a better angle.
I love the dinosaur thing, man.
I do too. I love that one.
That one turned out so cool. I just love your attention to detail and like how many details you put in there. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's a trick to compensate for low technical skill.
No.
It's true. It's true. It's just like with what I was talking about beauty. That I think anyway, if you find a way that however the art is being done, that you can put a ton of energy into it in the form of time and attention, it will come out in a way where people can feel that much energy off of it. Even if it's not like technically adept.
But your technique is so good. I don't have any markers, and I think the last time I tried to mess with them, I was so frustrated. It's like I'm not getting the effect I want. Like that's a skill.
No, that's what I asked, and thanks so much for telling us your secrets, man. Because there's plenty of artists I've asked, hey, how do you do that? And they just look at me like, yeah, right. Like I'm gonna tell you anything. Yeah.
This is the 3 monkeys expanded to 7.
Cool.
This is the last one I'll show.
Fear no evil.
Fear no evil. Eat no evil. See no evil.
Yeah, I like that one. Marty.
Fear no evil.
Oh, I have a crush on that girl.
Speak no evil.
Wow.
Forgot her name though.
Think no evil.
Hey, Chance, before you
transcend evil.
I love it.
I love that. That's right.
It's Marceline, Sean.
Thank you. Yeah, Marceline. I haven't watched her for a long time.
Marceline, the
but I always-
vampire queen.
Yeah, I always thought Marceline was totally hot. You know.
She wouldn't be into you. She likes chicks made of bubblegum.
I know. That's what makes it a right kind of crush. You know, like if you know for sure the person's not into you, that actually makes it better. You know,
It's safe.
especially if you can keep it hidden.
It's
You have to keep it
chivalric.
hidden.
It becomes chivalric love.
Yeah, exactly. Chivalric love, exactly. I've been stuck on that since before I knew what it was. Like when I was just young, like I already was like pretending in my mind to have this whole secret world with this person that hated me. I actually can remember from kindergarten, like moving around at nap time trying to follow a girl who hated me and trying to sleep next to her. And her always just being bugged out, like, "Oh my God, dude, get away from me," you know. And I wasn't trying to be aggressive, but just enough that like I wanted to continue the fantasy. She was my my thing, you know, that I couldn't have ever.
So 1 a.m. really snuck up on me. I'm a piece.
Yeah, it's midnight already. Thanks for sharing with
Hey,
us, man.
Chance. Oh, wait, hang on. What was I gonna ask you? Dang it! Oh, hey, what did you say your beef was with Rick and Morty? I might have been listening to an older episode, but did you?
I think I
just
said
say
it today.
that recently?
Today, yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
dude.
what was-
They made a joke about Prince being dead in an elevator before he died in the elevator. Fuck
That's
those
checked
guys.
up. That's checked
That
up.
checks out.
That checked. Yeah, it's factual. It's there's timestamps and shit. Like the episode released this one day, and then however many weeks later, like within the month, Prince was found dead in an elevator.
Not cool. That's not cool.
And they've got the
Wow.
frazzled.
I mean, fact
situation,
check me
too.
though. You know, fact check me if you want. Like maybe I'm wrong, but
No,
that's how I
it
understand
doesn't hurt to fact check. Oh, I wanted to ask you a question before you go too, if you don't mind, man. Okay, so I changed up what I'm doing completely here. Can you see this phone still or not?
I can see you now. Yeah, I switched to his pinned. I was just watching Gordy and ignoring everyone else for a long time, and I just realized
Oh.
that.
I don't know.
I don't know how
So-
that was.
I don't know if this is up there or not. I don't know
Hold
if you
on,
can see it.
See if I can pin you. There we go. I got you, Sean.
Those buttons.
Yeah, well, I started doing something different, and I wanted to ask Chance before he left. Should I add another colored one, or just keep working? I don't know. I'll probably bust those all off. It's on a silver bucket, see, and so I'll take them off the bucket when I bake them. But do you think there should be one more of color? I added some glitter pin. I did something really dangerous and opened up a pin right here at my desk. You think I should add more color or not? I guess there's technically two because there's a little gray
I'm
one
having
right
trouble
there.
seeing what you're talking about. Oh, there's two cameras. Oh, the whole time I was looking at you and not this.
Oh yeah, sorry.
All right,
yeah.
restart your question.
This thing. So here I changed up from faces to making these weird little button-looking things. I wanted to know if you thought there's a little gray one, but other than that, there's a blue one. You think there should be another colored one or not? Should I make more colored ones?
Bro,
It'd be
that's
hard
like
to make a lot of colored ones.
that's like asking me if you should have
Just
vanilla ice cream or chocolate ice cream. I'm like, man, both sounds good.
I mean, if you don't have an opinion, that's a fair answer too. You know, no pressure.
Okay, is it a choice to make no choice? I think because you're asking, to be honest, Sean, like I'm picking up that you do want to make at least one more color.
All right, see there, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you for helping me.
Otherwise,
try to
you
use
probably
this
wouldn't. You
inches.
probably wouldn't
Yeah.
have asked. I think it's
No, that's
good.
good
that
insight.
it's okay to do that. You should do it.
That's good insight. See, I bought this stamp, and I tried it out, but it didn't really work. I don't really have paint. It's probably a good thing not to keep paint right here. But yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody. You guys are the coolest.
Thanks for joining the
Yeah.
FlowState.
This is
You're the
nice hanging
friends
out.
I always wanted. Gordy, that's looking cool.
So he's
I like that.
Is that a
That
hand?
Yeah, doing the shocker.
Shocker.
Sweet.
Damn, that's looking awesome.
So
Is that
Yeah,
just-
it is.
A blue
that's a
pen?
cool texture. Like
Super rad.
this, I'm kind of happy with the Sharpie on the old leather.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of
An
has
enticing bingo.
Yeah, it looks
an
good.
interesting. It's an interesting texture. It's kind of cool.
And didn't we talk about that hand mudra recently?
That's exactly what it is. That's that creation force mudra.
Yeah.
And
Was it
that's
this one?
the same.
The shocker one, right?
Yeah, the chakra.
Yeah.
It's essentially like one of the the Doctor Strange ones that you see him doing a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
I noticed that when I was a little kid, reading Doctor Strange. I remember like trying to do those, and then Kiss copying it and like hijacking it made me really, really mad. And I wonder if it was one of those things that this was created so that we did not figure out that this was a powerful mudra.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's always that way because there's invisible forces at work and they're trying to invert into the opposite of what comes naturally or what's already in effect.
Yeah.
Well, that is something that is actually part of natural process. If you look in like all of the stories, there's always a story about the golden one, and there's always a reminder that that one is mortal. And that's what those entities are meant to do. At this point, we could say, yeah, they're pretty toxic. Like they're purposefully trying to take people down. I'm like, okay, that might be your purpose, but you're trying too hard. You're going a little too far. Totally unnecessary.
You guys are so fun. I'm out of here, though. I'm just like still listening. Peace.
Peace, dance.
See you soon, man. See you soon.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I always think about that, Rachel. Like, we see signs of like, on one hand, they're treating it like there's an economy or a limited resource on these signs and symbols. And then there's the opposite technique is like flood the zone.
Yeah. I noticed that with unicorns. When unicorns were really big.
Yeah.
Because to me, that is a higher version of Capricorn. So it was kind of like Good's way of being like, hey, here's what's coming. You could like be this, you could like step into this like royalty and, badassery. And then like the opposite side was normalize it so much that nobody actually does it. Yes. Everybody's so focused on wearing like unicorn onesies, and like, you want to wear a unicorn onesie, by all means, have fun. But they're so focused on the merch that they're not actually becoming unicorns. And I've seen so many people be like, I'm a unicorn. And I'm like, you are not acting. No, if you have to say you are.
That's right. I challenge everyone listening to have some audacity, and when the time is right, someone claims that there's something, call them on it. I love the idea of meeting some weird furry who's making everybody uncomfortable, and they're like, I'm a unicorn. And I'm just like, no, you're not. You're not even close to a unicorn. You don't even look, smell, touch, taste, act like a unicorn at all. You're just lying to yourself because you're uncomfortable right now. So if you really want to learn how to be a unicorn.
Oh, yeah. And
you might not have to take it that far. It doesn't have to go that far.
I was going to tell you, you guys brought up mudras, and I learned one. I was shown one for the void. There's a mudra for the void.
For the void?
For the void.
Yeah, please show us.
Like the actual void, or
yeah, like the actual void. There's a mudra for it. Let me see if I can. So it looks like, I almost have to like stand up because it's supposed to go facing down.
Okay.
Like just like natural.
Yeah.
So on the inside,
your
middle fingers go in like that. And the outside
go out. Oh.
But it's meant to be a little bit loose. So
okay. I see. Okay.
But it just, you just point right down. Very loose, very relaxed.
Cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It just happened.
Your hand tattoos are awesome too. I had no idea that those were on there.
Thanks. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. It was really exciting to learn that. I don't know how many people know about it. Like, I'm not a Moodra queen or anything. It's not something I do often.
Moodra queen.
You know,
Sure.
that
This stuff's new to me, mudras. I've never
Yeah.
that makes me think of rule number 1 in all martial arts is get out of the way.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
man.
And
Isn't
that's
that
what the
thing?
void is about.
To avoid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dang. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I was
How long have you been doing martial arts, Gabe? A long time, huh?
Yeah. I guess I started when I was 11. So yeah, most of my life.
You still do it a lot, huh?
Not very much, not as much as I'd like to. In fact, I play my instrument more than I, get down nowadays. I just picked up my it's called a pandero, but it's a tambourine, and started learning a few new tricks. And I just love, like, you learn one little nuanced little trick and you realize, oh, I'm a beginner all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So no, a tambourine is part of the martial art because of the dancing style, you mean?
Yeah, yep. There's a it's called the bateria. It's a band, and ideally it's around 7 people make a full bateria, and it's got and all of these instruments have like their Brazilian names for the instrument,
Yeah.
but essentially you would have one congo drum, 2 tambourines, a cowbell, and a shaky stick, like a scratchy stick.
Yeah.
And then you'd have 3 berimbau, and you have one is the bass, one is the viola, and one is the middle. It's called a measure. And so yeah, you got your 3 tones of berimbau, and so a total of 8 people make a full bateria.
So
And
the battery,
you got it, the battery.
the battery powers the dance.
Yep,
That's awesome.
firing off that cannon.
Yeah. I want to see it. You have any video of you doing it?
Actually, yeah, I dug up an old video of me playing with a mestre, or an instructor, a professor in Denver. I pulled it up the other day. It's still on the internet, and it's a pretty fun little game. He's really great. He's a great instructor. His name is Bamboo.
Because your story about that one thing that happened where you ended up inadvertently disrespecting the guy because you were wearing shoes inside of his dojo, and then he was like practicing magic against you by walking by and looking for you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was a trippy story, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that guy. He's a real deal alpha. He's.
Oh, I understand because sometimes you get that vibe off of somebody. You're like, yee. And if you can make me have that feeling, then something's going on with you, man. Because I don't really come to a lot of people, or whatever you want to call it, since that's a popular word now.
Yeah. So he had beef with one of my earliest instructors out in Colorado. He and my first teacher, her name was Donna, and she is passed away now, but she was kind of an originator of the early wave of capoeira coming through America. And she used to boast about how she helped design the first capoeira cafe in Berkeley, California.
Oh wow.
And yeah, she said, she sat down with that master in a coffee shop, and they sketched out the layout of the capoeira cafe on a napkin.
Yeah.
And so she's got that, like, I was there before all of y'all whippersnappers kind of attitude. And so yeah, she was one of my first teachers, and she was beautiful in so many ways. She could correlate the mythology of capoeira to a lot of Vedic mythology.
Nice.
And yeah, she was really into yoga.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, and she did something really beautiful. She taught me about there's a story behind the warrior poses, the sequence of warrior poses.
Okay.
And
I'm curious.
and I realized it has to do with I'm sure there are parallel stories, but the one that she brought forward was that it has to do with the story of Ganesha and how Ganesha was created by Parvati to be a guardian of the sacred grotto of Parvati. And at first, Ganesha was just a human baby, but a guardian spirit, like a cherub. And Shiva found out, he put out a call for Parvati and she did not respond. So he sought her out and found that she was in this reprieve in the sacred grotto in the mountains, and that there was a guardian spirit baby. And Shiva got pissed off and chopped off the head of the baby. And so the warrior pose has this cutting, the sequence where there's a cutting, a slicing.
Yeah.
And then Parvati gets pretty offended by this transgression. And so Parvati makes Shiva make amends by seeking out the most beautiful elephant in all the land. And so Shiva goes and harvests the head of the most beautiful elephant and puts it on top of the baby to put the baby back together. And that's how Ganesha became an elephant-headed demigod.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I have to tell my yoga instructor, see if he knows.
Yeah. It's such
If
a
not, I'll
beautiful-
send him the link to this and say, oh, it's at about, 2 hours? Don't worry. You'll find it.
Yeah, I know.
Do you guys
my
get
parents
anybody
don't
ever?
like it.
Do you ever get anybody actually watching this, like contact you guys?
I had a friend that
Like
I
the
invited
spiders?
to watch, just on a whim because we were texting, and it was when Lindsay and Snake were on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he texted me back, was like, I disagree with 90% of what everybody's saying. It's like, well, I guess we might not
Yeah.
be friends for very long.
Yeah, maybe you should tune in every week then and see if you can continue
Right?
to disagree or not.
It's like, well, that's too
Yeah.
Yeah.
bad. But
No, I know that some people from the picture show audience definitely tune in and watch because Jim always drops it in the Discord, and if anybody's wanting to be in the Arts Only Picture Show Discord, you can always just hit me with a private message. For obvious reasons, we closed the whole thing down and kept it private, and it's pretty somber anymore. We still got some regular members that hang out, and we do stuff in there, but it's a huge archive of information, and I know that people definitely are following what we're all doing. I think people will follow me and Jim around forever until we're all very old, just to see if we'll do it again. Like, will these guys get in one room again and start acting a fool again or not? Because we definitely did something different. Me and Jim pulled off something different.
I did invite
That's
one of my
pretty
family
cool.
members, so I'll find out tomorrow if he actually watched any of it.
I posted it on my Facebook and Twitter tonight just to, I didn't do a big promotion. I just hey, we're live making art and talking here. So I hope people show up, man.
There's a lot of people that come and comment later. So there's new viewers all the time that are like,
yeah, replays are a big deal, man. I'm going to go check out Chance's Vibrant for sure. And replays there's a beautiful thing about it,
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I'm an hour in and it just keeps getting better.
That's right.
Have to listen to
Oh,
it.
cool.
You guys were talking about napkin art?
Uh-huh.
So I made this cosmic fish.
That is sweet.
It's cool. I
Rad.
like it.
Love it.
It actually became a painting on a toilet seat. So somebody has a version of this somewhere.
Whoa.
On a toilet seat? Serious?
Yeah.
On a toilet seat?
Yeah, it was for charity.
I got a brand new toilet. I got a brand new toilet seat right here that I'm
Oh my
gonna do
gosh.
something with.
Yes. Do something.
Oh, that's
It
a
might be
great.
it might be a prize at a future Weaving Spiders welcome bingo.
Hey, there you go.
And Gordy's
Um,
totally got me inspired because I got my softball I found that doesn't have a skin on it. I guess I could take my red filter off. Just the lighting element here. Let's see, that's probably better. But yeah, I definitely want to do something with this.
mm,
It's just a wooden ball. Like there's so much I want to do with it.
Oh, fun.
yeah.
It's been
How old is that? That was the center of a softball, and it was wood.
yeah, exactly.
Do they make that? They don't. When was the last time they did that?
I don't know, dude. I'd have to. That's a good question. Like I should ask somebody that's knowledgeable on baseball about the history. I know enough guys. I tried to get into baseball one time when I had some coworkers that were all head over heels for it, but I was raised in a football family and baseball was never my thing. And of course now it's pretty hard for me to care about sports at all, in any capacity.
Exactly.
Like I'm a 49ers fan by birth, but I don't watch or look at scores or memorize it. Like I see jerseys now and I'm like, whoever that is, what name is that? I don't know who that is.
Mhm.
Someone else who signed away their life to be a slave to damage their body on national television.
Oh my god, dude! Have you seen that
Yep.
that documentary on the goons in Canada and the opiate
No,
epidemic among ex-NHL players? And
no, it doesn't
Oh.
surprise me. That's so hardcore to play hockey, dude. If someone tells me they play hockey, then I'm pretty much compromising at that point because they'll whoop your ass. I don't want to get in trouble, if you're a hockey player.
Have you
right?
guys seen Letterkenny?
I love that show so much. Oh my god, it goes
I've
so
seen it a
fast.
little
though.
bit.
It does go fast. It's really ridiculous. But
What
hey.
was the,
Go ahead.
do you guys remember the name of the film that Will Smith put out that was about the cerebral hemorrhaging CME disease?
Football.
Yeah,
Football injury.
Yeah, I don't remember the name
yeah.
of it. I know what it is, but I don't remember the name of it.
For some reason, the name of that film is just slipping through my memory. But one thing, has everybody seen it? Have you guys seen it?
Mm-mm.
What was it called?
I don't think so.
I forget the name of it. Let me see if I can look it up. But one thing that was really profound is at the very end of the film, as the credits are rolling, they give you this kind of a retro reveal, and they tell you that a non-disclaimer agreement was signed such that nobody will ever know the time period of which the NFL was fully aware of these effects and chose to do nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Interesting.
now I almost want to watch the film all over again and try to discern the passage of time that is not disclosed in the film,
Mm-hmm.
because they just go from one period into the resolution, and for all we know it was 20 years.
No, that's what media does. They take it. That's why they make things into big productions, in my opinion, is because it's their way to lens things out. And so even though, they take that's a great example of it. And to me, it's still,
Yeah.
of course, paralleling. In case you guys didn't know, I'm obsessed with the intelligence agency tactic of paralleling. I did an interview on it. It was the first thing I ever did on the internet with a man named Jesse Waugh, he invited me to do it. Because I've actually got that's part of the reason that Tracy asked me for an interview before she ever came on Picture Show too, was because of paralleling. But I'd say that's a great example of it. So they take the real history of whatever happened with head injuries and NFL and all that stuff, and they make it into a good narrative story that gets everybody in the guts and makes them want to cry and makes them mad or sad or whatever. And they use it as a strategy to admit their responsibility and blame in the situation where they could have done something to prevent people from being horribly injured and maybe even dying or becoming permanently disabled. And instead, because their model of entertainment and business and whatever else they're doing, that's not the end all be all of why we're being entertained. It's not just to keep our attentions. There's more to it, But so they protect those models and take great risks for a reason like that, and then they'd have to work hard to hide it.
Yes. Paralleling. That's such a good term for it.
Yeah, I'll drop that link in the YouTube real quick so that people can check it out if they want, because it's worth knowing about it. I learned about it from a lady who's vanished. For all I know, she's dead. Her name was Linda Kennedy. They used to call her Christian attorney Linda Kennedy, and there was a whole big story about why I found her, and I'm not going to go into it. But she had a whole show. She was pretty Christian based, but she had a whole lot of information about exposing intelligence agency tactics, because she had been attacked a lot herself. Like a lot of the things you're seeing happen now to people, it was happening to her first, and this was probably 02, 03, 04, 05. I don't know. I'd have to go look, but way back then,
Yeah.
What kind of things?
Say again?
What kind of things? Was she being threatened?
Yeah, like they would take, they would threaten her. They would send her weird emails. They would Photoshop her face on pornography and upload it to the web. They would hassle her in person. Ironically, and horribly, it makes me horribly sad to realize it, but same shit with Tracy. Like, so women come into my life, and some even so close to become good friends, that they're under duress from telling and exposing so much truth that they're literally being attacked and then either vanishing or dying. It's terrifying, man.
Mm.
But when you seek the truth, this is the kind of stuff you find, and it's real. So if you're going to seek the truth, be okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just is what it is.
Yeah, I'm struggling, man.
So that movie is Concussion. I found it.
Okay, cool.
With Will Smith. And
it's the first time in a million years I've been tempted to watch a Will Smith movie.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty crazy. But you know what you made me think of in light of what you were saying is kind of reminds me of the aspect of like a name change. And if a person wants to do a name change, one component is to put an announcement in a public publication for a certain period of time. And that's like considered giving public notice.
Right.
And there's all these like specifications to what is deemed officially public notice. And but it's just interesting that they use movies to do the same thing,
Yep. Yeah. And then the movies are so powerful that it influences all the world into seeing things in a different light, But I found a poem I was going to read for you guys, because I went on this amazing 3-day hike or 4-day hike into the Sawtooth Mountains. It's the first time I went on a long, arduous hike, and it was so life-changing. And I was just looking around I think I was looking for paint or for paint thinner or anything like that, but I'm smart enough not to keep that shit in my office because I know I'll fuck everything up with it. You got to keep it out in the more proper places. But I found this little poem, and I also have this book that if you guys want to continue, I could read something. This is called Memories, and it's like a book compiled by my great grandmother of all the family poetry and stuff.
Whoa,
cool.
And so I had my Aunt Kim send me her copy with my mom when my mom came to visit, and took pictures of all of it so that I have it, so I can, because there's lots of them, but like, where are they, right? Like, Kim found hers, and I'm sure my mom has one somewhere, and I'm sure my grandpa has probably a dozen of them somewhere, but where, right? So it's nice to just get pictures of it and use it as an inspiration to do the same thing eventually, print more family heritage type books full of poetry and verse or whatever. But I ran out of clay, and then I started messing with ink and glue, and I figured, okay, I think I'm done making art, but I can read a little bit if you guys want.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I'll probably
Okay.
go when you're done.
Okay. So this first one's a tiny little thing. It says, "It is I who must begin," by Vaclav Havel. And I've never heard of the man. The man who put on the whole hike for us really put together a great package. Like he must have read 150 books to find all the stuff that he gave us as inspiration. And it was a yoga retreat and like really introspective and intentionally designed for men to be on a hike alone together, being introspective and like being in touch with nature and themselves and each other. And so the title, once again, "It is I who must begin," Vaclav Havel. It is I who must begin. Once I begin, once I try, here and now, right where I am, not excusing myself by saying things would be easier elsewhere, without grand speeches and ostentatious gestures, but all the more persistently to live in harmony with the voice of being, as I understand it within myself. As soon as I begin that, I suddenly discover, to my surprise, that I am neither the only one nor the first, nor the most important one to have set out upon that road. Whether all is really lost or not depends entirely on whether or not I am lost.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, me too. He probably gave us 5 or 6 of them, and I intentionally kind of, I see another one here. I kind of stick them around so that they pop up like Easter eggs for me.
That's really cool.
I like leaving myself Easter eggs. I think that's really fun.
Yeah,
See if I can.
it's key. Stimulates creativity.
It does, and it keeps things light. Oh, I should find that because that was the best one.
Okay, there's a particular poem I was going to read out of this book. Let me see if I can find it or not.
Okay, I have an Easter egg story when you're done. And then I'm dead.
Now, this, I don't know, is pretty tempting to read this one. I don't even know what family member or friend Wendell Buttermore is, but the poem on page 11 is "No More Will I Be Butter." And his name's Buttermore.
Infinite butter.
Tasty butter.
I just wrote infinite butter on there.
Infinite butter.
Whoa. I remember you were talking about the butter. Yeah, straight. Okay, we got to read it. Page 11, Infinite Butter,
With a-
Buttermore.
With a butter,
Yeah.
of butter on an altar.
Yeah. So, okay, I forgot that the butter vibe was rolling. That's why my eyes catching that poem. All right, so "No More Will I Be Butter" by Wendell Buttermore. I'll have to ask around and see if anybody remembers who he is. "No more will I be butter. Truth and fiction often meet and vie for tales possessing. Each tries the other to outdo, while we watch helpless, guessing. The story that I'm now to tell is true as truth can be. No wonder fiction sits wide-eyed and envies you and me. One day a phone it chanced to ring, but that's not strange nor funny. All telephones, they ring and ring. That's why we pay our money. You're wanted on the telephone, the summons clear as morning. She grabbed a duster and was gone, not thinking of adorning. But as she passed the parlor door, intent upon her talking, there sat upon the davenport a man who saw her walking. Ah, isn't she a beauty rare? He mused, no words could utter, till she ascended up the stair, and he thought more of butter. Just ask her for a date, I would, his hostess quickly chattered, while he in meditation deep dreamed that his hopes were shattered. As moments flew, his courage rose, above the clouds he drifted, while castles made of air he built as high as his spirits lifted. He took advice and said the word, those words so full of hoping. Please understand, I'm sure you will. No thought of just eloping. To make the story short that's long, the details left for guessing, we hasten to conclude this truth and add our joy and blessing. He asked her out for dinner. She went, the meal was grand. His company was exquisite. She hoped he'd understand. Then date brought date, once and again, attraction growing stronger. The bluffs seemed not so far away from Milton Vale down yonder. And now a short 12 months have passed, affection grows the stronger, with letters flying thick and fast and daily getting longer. Love has a way of hinting so the fair one's not surprised. In fact, she's waited breathlessly for the question she surmised. God led our lives together, said John, his fears now was abated. I think he meant you just for me. Dee listened, all elated. Don't look at me that way, he said, his eloquence returning. Just say that you will be my bride. For you, my heart is yearning. Of course I will, dear John, she said, her heart with joy aflutter. She blushed a bit, then glowing said, no more will I be butter. Yeah, that's pretty good.
How fun.
Yeah.
And it's probably true, you know, like I read I'll read you the introduction too, and then I'll stop with this book. So the very front page, this is my great grandmother, Florence Alger, Florence Gordon before she was married. But actually it's got both of their names, so this is the sisters, but it makes me think of my great grandmother because she was the true matriarch and inspiration of our whole family. And it says, dedication. This little book we dedicate to all the family clan. We've gathered bits from here and there from family members everywhere to fit into our plan. A special dedication goes to Mother Gordon, who gave us the inspiration for all the things we do. We're such a harum-scarum bunch, we're always in a stir, so if we've accomplished anything, the credit goes to her. And then there's Father Gordon, entertainer, gay was he. He sang and danced and joked with us and taught us modesty. Though they're no longer with us, wherever they may roam, we hope they know they're loved and missed in each and every home.
Hmm.
It makes me think, maybe that's where I get it from great-great-grandfather Gordon that I never met, you know? Maybe that's why I'm such a clownish, dancing, singing, artistic fool.
Brother.
Very
That's great.
personal.
I love how
Jim,
that.
say again?
No, go ahead, Rachel. You were going to sign off.
I was going to sign off. I was going to share my Easter egg I left myself and what I've been working on all night.
Yeah.
All right.
But
We want to see.
Okay, so I have one of these like metal rulers, right?
Mhm.
I have that cork on it. So for whatever reason, I drew like a smiley face on it, and then I forgot. And I was working on like this really intense chart, and I'm trying to make all these perfect lines with waterproof ink. You cannot mess this up. And of course, somehow I place it directly on to something that's drying. And then it's like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. And I'm so careful to pull it away, and I flip it over, and it made a nose. Like, I can't be mad. I cannot be mad.
Wow. He's been wanting a nose for a long time. He finally tricked you into giving him one.
Yeah. I was like, I
It's
totally
great.
forgot about it. I was so involved in what I was doing. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, thanks. You're welcome.
Smells
little
like
thing.
butter.
Smells like butter.
Smells like butter. And then tonight I wasn't sure what to draw, so I picked a rune and got ice. And I get ice a lot. I really like it, but so I did an ice giant.
Nice.
Oh,
That's cool.
Awesome.
So I was
I like
like,
that she's
Yeah.
cool.
so
Dancing with her skirt, with her ice skirt.
yeah, I was like, there must be some sort of beauty to these giants because people kept banging them to the point where somebody was like, okay, stop sleeping with giants. You're just creating gods. It's too much. It's just too much. So
That's funny. I never thought of that. That's funny.
it's like there's
Seduced
something
by-
attractive about
yeah.
nature.
Seduced by an ice giant. Like, why is there an extra god? Like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to my room.
Right? Who did this? Come on, guys.
Yeah. Didn't we have a talk? I thought we had a new rule. right?
Pretty
That's
much.
funny.
So thank you. This was really
That's
fun.
great. This
You
was
guys are
fun.
making cool
Thank you.
stuff.
I'm definitely
Definitely.
down. I'm down to do this as often as you're up for it, Jimmy, or even if
I think when it works out, I'd love to do it maybe every week
yeah.
after Vibrant.
I want to see what you're doing there too. It looks like you
Yeah.
added some stuff there.
I've been adding textures to it. I think I was working on this sort of plant texture.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Neat. Wow.
Mm.
I did.
these things are huge chess pieces, Jimmy. Oh my god, I can't wait to see these in bronze with patina on them. This is gonna take you
all
years.
this texture.
So rad.
Yeah. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's on there. It's like I found this net,
Mm-hmm.
some packaging material or something, or it was
Yeah.
in like a garbage can. I was like, oh, I've got to grab that. I got this big sheet of it, and I cut off some and I press it in here. I think I kind of manhandled it a little bit and squished it, but it's gonna be nice. I'm gonna high polish some parts, so it's gonna be shiny bronze on the high points and dark on the low points. And
I'm stoked to see.
That's cool.
I missed that plant behind you too.
what?
Tell that plant I said hi. The plant behind you over there by the
Oh.
bathroom door. You guys see that yellow door? You have any idea how much time I spent in there getting paid to go poop? It's not even funny.
All right. I'm out.
Pay him to poop.
Proud. Proud and impressed.
I couldn't
Man's gotta
help
be
it.
clean.
I that's right. That's right.
Good night, you
We're gonna
guys.
chase. Yeah, we're gonna chase the lady out of here with that kind of talk.
Yeah.
What a great way to end it.
Good night,
Yeah,
Rachel.
that's
Yeah.
beautiful. Oh, thank you guys. It was really fun.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
I look
Have a
forward to
great
doing
night,
it again
guys.
soon.
And
Yeah, you
thanks
too.
everybody for watching,
Yeah, for sure.
hanging out, making art, hopefully at home.
Once again, I never looked at the chat. I'm gonna have to start looking at the chat. You guys have to send me a private message like, look in the chat. And then I'll look.
Right on, fellas.
Well, I think I might
Night,
just
guys.
sign off here and kill the Zoom. Say goodnight to the folks here.
Yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. This was a good time. I got a lot of art done. I guess I'll maybe I'll take pictures and drop it in the Telegram because it's kind of hard to get this camera to really show it. So
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. But
So-
yeah, definitely. And think about what you guys want to make next week.
Right on.
yeah,
The next
Not-
flow
Yeah.
state.
yeah. Everybody too. Everybody think about what they want to make, not just us here, but like in the audience and everything, right? Like everybody
Yeah.
make art, make art, make art.
For sure. And if you'd like to come on and read and make art with us,
Mhm.
you can get in touch with us. Go to my Telegram and I'll drop the Zoom for you next week. Whatnot. Thanks everybody.